Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP for the latest on Decision 2024. WBAP salutes Mesquite. Thank you, Mesquite, for listening today to News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
This hour on WBAP is brought to you by the Wilhite Law Firm Injury Lawyers. Go to WilhiteWins.com.
That's WilhiteWins.com.
Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Welcome back to the big show. DNC Day 3 wraps up. Tonight is the big finale. I mean, if you're into such things. What do you think about it thus far? Are you watching any of it? Now, even if you're not watching it, I bet you've seen some nice little highlights and clips and some coverage in your social media feed and talking to friends and on Facebook and whatnot. If you have an opinion, I'd love to hear it. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. You know, most of the time in the existence of the James Show, I try to not be so political, but dude, we're like 75 days, I think, from the election. So pardon me if we talk a lot of politics over the next 2 months. I would like to also point out that for the handful of grumpy people that complained when I was talking about sports too much, when both the Stars and the Mavericks were in the Western Conference Finals, and I told you, look, this is just like a once-in-a-lifetime best year in Dallas sports history. I haven't said anything about it since. I hadn't even said anything about Cowboys preseason, and I'm not going to, because this is way more important. You know why? Because I just paid $16 for lunch at Jimmy John's. That is not a joke. It's not an exaggeration. I didn't get like 8 desserts. I didn't get like the super 16-inch long one. Just a regular sandwich, chips, large drink, $16. Tommy Pickett with the RNC is joining us on the James Show again. Tommy, I didn't hear anything at the conference thus far, the convention thus far, that would address the $16 lunch I just paid for fast food.
Yeah, the only thing that they're proposing in regards to that is to basically take the sandwich away in terms of causing shortages with their price control, communist-inspired scheme that even the liberal Washington Post is calling a communist-inspired scheme. I mean, we were tracking the mentions of the different speeches, and last night the word inflation was only mentioned 3 times. Just 3 times the entire night. That's not just Tim Walz' speech. That's not just one person's speech. That's the entire night, just 3 times. And that shows you their priorities are not about lowering costs. And if you look at their policies, they'd only actually increase costs and lead to shortages at the same time. But you think you could barely invent such a terrible policy, and yet that's the policy they're putting forward.
Well, I like the idea of counting some of these words. I went back to Obama's speech, and I searched the word constitution. So constitution, constitutional, constitutionality, any of those words would have popped up on it. You know how many times it was mentioned? 0. 0.0 times. And when we're talking about the person who is going to be tasked with running a government that is based on the Constitution, shouldn't it at least get a mention?
Yeah, I mean, you'd think so. I mean, the thing is that Democrats claim to be the party of democracy. That's what they call themselves. And they show themselves to be anything but time and time and time again, whether that's through targeting President Trump through weaponized institutions, whether that's trying to kick him off the ballot, whether that's literally deposing their own nominee, throwing out 14 million primary votes, and then installing their own nominee with 5 people in the back room deciding who that's going to be. You know, that's the Democrat Party for you. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to their anti-democratic tendencies. So when they claim to be the party of democracy, they're anything but. And they've shown through this last administration that they're willing to weaponize these institutions and also not listen to the Supreme Court. There are so many examples of policies that have been struck down that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have tried to put forward, and yet they try to violate the Supreme Court, find some sort of loophole, violate the spirit of the law.
Like student loan relief?
Anyway.
Like paying off your student loans?
Yeah, exactly. It comes to the border, too. I mean, when it comes to the border, there's parts in the law that dictate that they have to follow certain parts of the law. It's been ruled that they need to follow certain parts of the law, and they're trying to find any way out of it, try to invent new classifications to try to avoid securing the border. So many examples of that where the Biden administration, the Kamala Harris Biden administration, has really tried to circumvent the law any chance they can.
Well, I did a search of Tim Walz's speech while you were talking there. How many times did he say the word Constitution? You want to throw out a guess?
I'm going to guess 0 as well.
Yes, Tommy, you got it. I guess it wasn't that hard. Let's go ahead and put a bet down. Do you think Kamala Harris is going to say the word constitution, constitutional, any variety of that base word constitution tonight?
Well, I mean, I expect her to give the exact same speech she's been giving on the stump, and if that's the case, then I would say no, she doesn't mention it at all, because on the stump, she's basically just giving the same old speech and it doesn't mention it.
Hey, voters, if they're not mentioning the Constitution, if the Constitution is an impediment to the people that are asking for your vote, you shouldn't be voting for them. How about that? Is that a good rule of thumb?
Yeah, I mean, it's basic common sense, and at a certain point here, they're showing through even beyond what they're talking about through their actions, like you just were discussing, about how they don't follow the law. And so at a certain point, you can just look to their actions as well and say they're circumventing the law, they're not following the law, they're not obeying subpoenas. I mean, there's so many examples of them not following the law based off of their policies and their actions. Well,
and then they also kind of avoid some of the stuff that you see them trumpet the other 364 days a year, but it wasn't in the speech last night. You know, there was no mention of the word trans kids, transitioning, trans surgeries, trans treatments, none of that.
Well, I mean, it shows just how unpopular those opinions are. The fact that Tim Walz wants to take children away from their parents if parents don't agree with these reassignment surgeries. I mean, that is so out there. It is so undermining the parents. It's almost indescribable how radical that policy is, what that could actually mean when you actually think about the government coming in and taking away a child aged as young as 8 to 12 and taking them away from their parents because their parents want to think carefully through this issue. I mean, it's outrageous. And it's a level of government control we've never seen before. So I'm not surprised they're not talking about it because it's so wildly unpopular. Yet when you look at the legislation and the actions they've taken, they have really radical opinions on this.
Well, Tommy, I think that's one of the things that we need to remember that we all learned during the coronavirus pandemic. There was the poll that said 29% of Democrat voters would support temporarily removing parents' custody of their children if the parents refuse to give them the COVID-19 vaccine.
Absolutely outrageous. I mean, and I think you're so right to bring up the COVID example because it's important to look how people respond in times of crises and how they might respond again. And President Trump responded with an impetus towards freedom, towards trusting the American people. We have Tim Walz, who refuses to say he made any mistakes when it comes to shutting down schools. He still thinks he did the correct thing in shutting down schools in Minnesota. You have Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, who have pushed further mandates, who have wanted to kick service members and did out of the military who didn't take the vaccine, want more mandates. I mean, they have the exact wrong approach when it comes to this. And that's a stark reminder of how they approach these different crises. And the Democrat impetus here is to seize as much power as possible, to undermine the American people as possible, and to control the American people as much as possible. And President Trump's impetus is the opposite. He wants to empower the American people to make their own decisions.
Well, Tommy, I appreciate you watching some of that DNC last night and sharing your insights with us. Thanks for being on the James Show again.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. Tommy Pigott, RNC spokesman. Your thoughts on the Democrat National Convention happening this week? Did you watch any of it last night? What do you think of some of the clips you saw online? There's also some audio that you're going to hear in about 5 minutes that I would like to get your opinion on as well. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. This is The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Coming up Friday morning at 6:17, Kamala Harris speaks at the DNC. Did she discuss any policy plans? We'll tell you about it.
And at 8:21, Jay Betzel stops by to tell us all the fun and exciting things going on in DFW this weekend.
I'm Carla Marion.
And I'm Bonnie Cook. I've got your traffic on the ones. Chief Meteorologist Brad Barton, your forecast. Steve Lamb, the sports, and Nicolo say your news updates at the top and bottom of the hour, along with your money news and how Jay keeps us laughing.
It's all on Friday's WBAP Morning News, 5 till 9. Keep connected, DFW, to 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
Brought to you by the law offices of Thomas J. Henry.
If you've been hurt in a crash, do your research. You'll find plenty of lawyers out there. They'll probably do a fine job. But ask yourself, is fine really good enough for you and your family? Don't leave your case to chance. Contact Thomas J. Henry today. San Antonio, Texas.
Hey, North Texas, I've been talking up the great folks at Clarity Windows and Doors family for over 20 years now, especially the energy savings we achieved with high-efficiency windows and doors. Also, the added beauty, curb appeal, and the value they add to your home. These windows also keep out the dust and the pollen and the street noise. But the real advantage is saving wear and tear, extending the life of your heating and cooling system. You know, North Texas weather's a roller coaster. Heat, humidity, cold, wind, noise, dust. But Clarity Windows can help control your in-home temperatures and air quality, taking a big load off your AC unit. And right now you can save 40% off every other window. Also, great financing options to fit your budget. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call 1-888-458-3630 or just click them online at ClarityWindows.com. Love your home again with timeless beauty and savings from Clarity Windows and Doors.
Bring clarity to your home. Clarity Windows and Doors.
When you got out of bed this morning, was your body screaming at you? Hi, it's Ernie Brown. If you have pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulders, or back, if you've been told that surgery is the only solution for your joint pain, you got to check out QC Kinetics. They're the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. Instead of masking the symptoms, QC Kinetics gets to the root of the problem. They actually restore and repair the damaged tissue with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Look, they've helped tens of thousands of patients nationwide with incredible results, and they can help you too. So you want to find out if you're a candidate for this treatment? They're offering a free consultation, but you got to call this number, 469-903-4828. Go back to doing the things you love. I'm talking about long-lasting relief from joint pain here. To get started, schedule a free consultation with QC Kinetics. Call 469-903-4828. That's 469-903-4828.
Here's automotive expert and nationally syndicated talk show host, Jerry Reynolds.
The summer sales events in the final weeks at the 4 DFW 5-star Ford dealerships. All 4 locations are stocked up and they're offering amazing deals right now on over 2,500 new Fords. Looking for low interest rates and cash back? Well, they got both at 5-star Ford. 2024 F-150 XLTs have 3.9% APR for 60 plus 1,900 cash back. Or you can get a whopping $4,250 cash back. 2024 Explorer 2.9 for 60 and 2,300 cash back. 24 Edge has 1.9 for 60 plus 2,500 cash back. Keep in mind the low rates and big cash back are before the big 5-star Ford discounts. New Fords just got a whole lot cheaper at 5-star Ford in Carrollton, North Richland Hills, Louisville, and Dallas, the dealerships you've trusted for 44 years. Sampac.com.
We're taking care of business.
We have a couple of new crashes in Fort Worth. One's on northbound 35W at Keller Hicks. It's blocking 2 right lanes. You have about a 5 to 10 minute jam for now from Golden Triangle. And the other's on 30 eastbound just before Chapel Creek Boulevard. It's blocking 1 right lane. Congestion just starting to build up around Camp Bowie. And we're still dealing with a disabled vehicle in Dallas blocking the right lane of eastbound 635 just before Plano Road. You have about a 5 to 10 minute jam there from Skillman. With WBAP First Traffic, I'm Colin Ellis.
This report is sponsored by Dinovite. Your dog's health begins in the gut. Dinovite is the nutritional supplement created to boost your dog's immune system and overall health. You can now try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Visit dinovite.com/radio. Go with your gut. Go with Dinovite.
DFW's most listened to news, traffic, and weather station.
News Talk 820 WBAP. And now on FM at 93.3.
Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Yeah, I know I sound a little stuffy. I'm not sick. My nose is stopped up. It's allergies or something. I think I might have monkeypox. It's it's the cool thing right now. All the cool kids are getting monkeypox. I don't know how you get it. I think it's from toilet seats or something. But day 3 of the DNC concluded last night. We have one more day left tonight. The big speaker tonight, the headliner, of course, Kamala Harris, the now official candidate for the Democrat Party. Also, who's the other ones? Gretchen Whitmer and I think, was it Shapiro? It was some other swing state guy. Was it Shapiro? Yeah, so 2 swing state governors are going to be leading into her. Smart, strategically speaking. We'll get to some of the highlights here, but if you want to jump in, just feel free to call anytime. I'd like to hear any thoughts that you had. Because I imagine, look, if you didn't watch it, someone watched it out there, and I would like to hear your thoughts. I know what I think, but your brain works different than mine. So 800-288-9227. We'll start with Kevin in Fort Worth. You're on WBAP. What do you think about the DNC, sir?
Just for a moment. Can you hear me?
I can.
I just want to put out there that Bill Clinton had no right to be up there talking bad about Donald Trump, President Trump. He was actually impeached for lying and also lied under oath to a federal grand jury. How dare he be up there at all talking anything bad about President Trump?
Well, that's I hope I don't get in trouble with some of my listeners here, but I think the impeachment against Bill Clinton ultimately was a mistake. It worked in the fact that you stained him and it ruined Al Gore and you ended up winning the next election. It made the Democrats look bad and embarrassed. But, you know, I try to use the example like of our founding fathers. A couple of them had some sexual indiscretions and weren't really enthused about the whole marriage fidelity thing. Ben Franklin among them, and exploiting that and trying to run him out of office in public opinion over his sexual peccadillos would have been a mistake. Not to say that Bill Clinton is anywhere near Ben Franklin, but I generally sour on going after people for moral shortcomings like that. However, now that I say that, let me come back the other way even harder. I'm not really concerned about the voluntary favors he got from Monica Lewinsky under the desk on Easter Sunday. That's bad. That's not what you want in a president. I'm more concerned about the 23 women who have accused him of rape and or sexual assault. And I'm not talking about the consensual affairs. I'm not talking about Jennifer Flowers and other people that he's been with and it was voluntary. I'm talking about there's 23 people. I've had to go back and count them all. And we know the names of more than half of them. There's a few anonymous ones, like when he was the Attorney General of Arkansas and Governor of Arkansas. There's two different reports. One say 6, one say 7 times the Arkansas State Police had to cover up for one of his sexual assaults. But other than that, we know most of the women that he sexually assaulted, the Kathleen Willies, the Paula Jones, the Juanita Brodericks. I think if that's not a disqualifying factor, then I don't want to hear anything about anyone's immorality going forward.
I got you. He just lied to a federal grand jury, is my point. And if any of us did it, we'd still be in prison.
No, that's a valid point. That's a valid point. I'm just saying it doesn't bother me because one of the fingers I point at the Republican Party when they gripe about how Donald Trump was just so flippantly impeached twice for light and transient causes. You guys started this. You guys were the first ones to do the light and transient cause impeachment. Yeah, he lied under oath. About a BJ, though? I mean, does that really hang anything in America in the balance? That whole trial was, I think it was the Whitewater scandal, right? So, what we got here? Oh, my goodness. Breaking news. Can we just go to this? In Cochise County, Arizona, the sheriff is doing a press conference, and in Arizona, they are searching for a man threatening to kill Trump. Am I getting this right? There's a manhunt underway right now? All right. I'll check this out on the break and let you know what's going on with that. That's wild. Because look, I am not a conspiracy theorist, but some of these things that are called conspiracy theories are not. And I saw Alex Jones saying, what was that this morning? He was saying that they're going to try and assassinate Trump. They'll probably try and frame Iran, start World War III, yada, yada, yada. Now, Alex Jones is wrong quite often. Ask the families of Sandy Hook. But he's been right. And he's been right a few times where I thought he was wrong. And that absolutely makes sense. You can't say that, well, that's ridiculous. They wouldn't try to assassinate him. They just did it a month ago. And you think, what's the more plausible scenario? Some 20-year-old can outsmart our Secret Service. Some guy with no training, with no resources, with no network, with no help, with not even a partner can get through that. I don't know. I'll check on that and get back to you and let you know what's going on with this Arizona situation. But I have so much stuff lined up for the for the DNC. First, let me start out with how bizarre is it when I can play you a soundbite and you're going to have a hard time telling me if it's real or if it's a parody. Let me start with this one. This is Bill Clinton on the stage last night, or is it?
And sure, I went to Jeffrey Epstein Island 27 times. It was fun as hell, the time of my life, but then Hillary killed him and I couldn't go anymore. So now I'm stuck with this, you know.
All right. I don't know if that's an impersonator or probably AI. Okay, so that was the fake Bill Clinton. Here's the real Bill Clinton last night on stage at the DNC talking about Tim Walz.
And then he became a great governor. And by all accounts, he was a crack shot who had the courage among his rural constituents to say we do not need these assault weapons available to people who can kill our kids in school.
The Bill of Rights isn't just an enumeration of rights you're supposed to have. It's also a checklist for like a warning sign for tyrants. And if someone is wanting to suppress free speech and assembly and religion like they did during the COVID lockdowns, and that's all the First Amendment. They also want to restrict the press, First Amendment. Now they want to restrict guns, Second Amendment. What are they doing? Are they just following the Founding Fathers' blueprint for tyranny? All right, let's go to Trump just stepped up to the podium in Arizona. We're going to go to him live and see what this is all about because the caption at the bottom says, Arizona search for man threatening to kill Trump. We're going to go to this live.
Sad time for this country in many ways. You had a candidate. I was no fan of Joe Biden, but the way he was taken out was a coup. He got 14 million votes, and the person running now got none. She was disgraced. She was figured out by the Democrat voters. She never made it to Iowa. She was the first one out of approximately 22 people that were running for the Democrat nomination. She never even
all right, that's not telling us anything.
Made it to Iowa.
Let's kill this. On Fox News, they have Arizona officials searching for a man believed to have made threats against Trump. Manhunt's underway in Arizona for a suspect. He has outstanding warrants in Wisconsin and Arizona. Well, that's not a good sign. More details coming up on this. I'll keep an eye on it. Maybe Eric has something in the news, but I'll go read and try and get caught up on this. And I'll also I'll make Garrett listen to Trump if he says anything of consequence. You'll hear it coming up in about 6-7 minutes, and more DNC highlights. If you want to jump in, I'd love to hear from you. 800-288-9227. It's the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text TAP to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text TAP to 321-321. That's TAP to 321-321.
A secure retirement just doesn't happen by accident. When that day comes, what's most important to you? Are you sure to have more money than month? What about unexpected medical costs? Do you want to leave something to the kids or the grandkids? I'm Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know we specialize in these questions and can help make your retirement dream a reality with some of the highest guarantees in the business. Imagine getting up to a guaranteed 12% growth on your retirement income and up to a 30% bonus up front just for opening an account. If you have funds sitting idle in an old 401k or IRA, consider guaranteeing it to secure the peace of mind you deserve. Don't leave your financial security to chance. Take advantage of the highest guarantees I've seen in my career. Call Trajan today at 469-579-3500. That's 469-579-3500. Or visit us online at TrajanWealth.com.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
If you're suffering from burning, tingling, or numb feet, you need to pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Wayne Stair in D.C. What is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is actually damage to the nerves, most often in the feet, legs, and hands.
And what are the symptoms?
The major symptoms are numbness, tingling, burning, muscle cramps, coldness in hands and feet, and problems with balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we can get some great results. Your nerve damage screening will tell you if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our innovative treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe that there is nothing that can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations.
Call 469-751-8262. The first 25 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 469-751-8262. That's 469-751-8262.
Injured in an accident? Mullen & Mullen Injury Law Firm is your best option. We come to you, find the health care you need, keep you informed, and we have the lowest pre-suit fees in the industry. Call me for a free consultation. 214-INJURED. MullenandMullen.com. No recovery, no expense or fees. Been that way since '83.
DFW's News, Talk, Traffic, and Weather Station. News Talk 820 WBAP. And now on FM at 93.3.
Streaming live on our free mobile app.
A Cumulus Media Station. Trending now.
Republicans call out issues as Democrats close out their convention. I'm Eric Bushman from the Novak Motors News Desk.
ClassicChevrolet.com. WBAP's first traffic and weather.
On the ones.
We have a new crash in Dallas blocking the left lane of northbound 35E at Commonwealth Drive. Your stop and go for Medical District Drive looks like about a 10 to 12 minute delay. Still have that disabled vehicle on eastbound 635 just before Plano Road. Right lane blocked here and about a 5 to 10 minute jam built up from Skillman. And we also still have a couple of crashes in Fort Worth. One's on northbound 35W at Keller Hicks. That has you stop and go from Golden Triangle. And the other's on 30 eastbound just before Chapel Creek Boulevard. Expect to see some extra brake lights around Camp Bowie. With WBAP, first traffic and weather on the ones. I'm Colin Ellis.
Why do so many Texans love Classic Chevrolet and Grapevine? We're the #1 Chevy dealership in the world. New Silverados, more than anyone. Malibus, Blazers, Equinox. Got 'em. Visit ClassicChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. Based on new Chevrolet registrations 2023.
The WBAP forecast, a heat advisory is in effect for at least the rest of the day. Sunny, a high 100, heat index up to 108. It's currently 95 in Dallas, 97 in Fort Worth. Republicans are calling out continued issues at the southern border as Democrats have the spotlight going into the final night of the Democratic National Convention. Senator John Cornyn says the Biden-Harris administration cannot accurately report how many migrants have crossed into the U.S. since the beginning of their term.
If you start looking at some of the vast numbers of individuals who are simply not counted in these numbers, you'll realize that there is no accurate number that's being given for who's coming across.
Harris formally accepts her party's nomination for president tonight in Chicago. Meanwhile, you heard James talking about this just a moment ago, that authorities in Arizona are searching this afternoon for a 66-year-old man who is wanted on several warrants and in connection to threats made to kill former President Donald Trump. Trump is in Arizona today, speaking along a stretch of the southern border in the very area where they are looking for this particular individual. Your money news, a popular chicken chain could be serving more than just poultry.
Chick-fil-A apparently wants to slide into the TV streaming business. The chain, always near the top of any list of fast food operations, is working with several producers to create family-friendly shows to stream on its own channel. The report from Deadline.com says the plan is to emphasize unscripted or reality shows. It may also license and acquire existing shows. The company operates more than 3,000 restaurants across the nation. Besides its popular chicken dishes and waffle fries, it's also known for its Christian ownership, closing its stores on Sundays as well as Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. CJ Papa, Fox News.
The Dow's down 195 points, NASDAQ off 297, the S&P 500 down by 51. Again, the high today 100, it is 95 in Dallas, 97 in Fort Worth. Your next news update is at 3 o'clock. I'm Eric Bushman. Check back several times throughout your day and keep connected, DFW, to News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP for the latest on Decision 2024.
The dog days of summer for the Dallas Cowboys finally going to feel like it after spending almost a month out in Southern California for training camp. From our Mullen & Mullen Law Firm Sports Desk, I'm Steve Lamb. Team returning from Oxnard today, returning to the heat that's a part of our Texas summers. No more cool breezes coming in off the Pacific Ocean, and maybe the change of scenery is needed. Yesterday was probably the most intense and spirited of training camp, with offensive and defensive players shouting back and forth, 2 scrimmages breaking out before the practice was over. Cowboys host the Los Angeles Chargers this Saturday afternoon at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. You won't see former TCU quarterback Max Duggan playing for the Chargers. He was released by LA a couple days ago, where he was fighting it out with Easton Stick and Luis Perez to be a backup behind Justin Herbert. Keep your fingers crossed. Texas might end up having a team playing for the Little League World Series Championship. Those boys from Bernie, the Bernie All-Stars, beat Henderson, Nevada yesterday to punch their ticket to the U.S. Final, which will be on Saturday. Win that game, they'll play Sunday against the international champion. That's your Thursday afternoon sports update. I'm Steve Lamb.
Brought to you by Fannin Tree Farm in Frisco.
Looking to buy a tree for your home or business? There's only one place, and that's Fannin Tree Farm in Frisco. They have the largest tree inventory, the most knowledgeable, friendly staff, and every tree comes with that 1-year Fannin guarantee. Go get you a tree from Fannin Tree Farm in Frisco. Visit FanninTreeFarm.com.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer custom-made faux wood and real wood blinds and shutters, cellular shades, Roman shades, bamboo shades, exterior shades, and more, all at factory direct prices. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
Your official traffic and weather station. Keep connected, DFW. News Talk 820 WBAP. And now on 93.3 FM.
Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Welcome back to the big show. Well, we have some breaking news here. In Arizona, a manhunt is underway. I did get a little more details. We did listen to Trump on the break. Now, he just said a few sentences about the situation at hand and then immediately went into a campaign speech. You can't blame him. We're 75 days away from an election. But I went and dug up some details for you. They're looking for a dude that has warrants out in Wisconsin and Arizona. They think the guy is a 66-year-old fella named Ronald Sirvad. I mean, his name's not important, but they actually know who they're looking for. It's not like they saw a random dude and are trying to figure out who it is. So the suspect threatened to kill Trump. President Trump landed in Arizona today. And I guess, there's 2 layers to this. One, you have to make a threat. And 2, it has to be an actionable threat. So if some guy up in Alaska is like, just type it out on Twitter, oh, I'd love to kill Trump. I mean, he may get like a visit from the Secret Service or whatnot. But if someone says, I want to kill Trump, and then Trump happens to go to his backyard, I mean, that seems to be the setup of what happened in Pennsylvania, in Butler, isn't it? So they're not going to let that happen again. Manhunt underway. I'll let you know if there's any movement on it. My next guest, Raven Harrison. We're just finding this news story out together. Welcome back to the show, by the way.
Thanks, James.
Alex Jones just said, I think it was yesterday, that he expects someone else to try and assassinate Trump. If that's what the deep state wants, that's what the deep state's going to get, and they're probably not going to stop after one failed attempt, because no one got in trouble for that first attempt. No one got exposed. The official story is that it was just this 20-year-old idiot who acted on its own with no help and no training and no resources and no network. Just beat the country with an $11 trillion defense budget. That's all. So without any accountability, I'm not surprised it may be happening again. What do you think?
No, absolutely, and especially because now they can use the sentiment that they whipped up against President Trump, all this hate, all this animus, all this...
Oh, no. Reagan, please. This is joy, okay? They are so joyous. They are so happy. They're having they're so fun, Raven. It's Team Red that's the evil, meanie people.
Well, of course, because the two most miserable people on the left are named Joy. So we got to do something to kind of deflect from that. But you are right. So yeah, there's going to be more attempts like this because they put a mark on him with this. They intended to get him the first time. They didn't. So they're really putting that, and they've doubled down on that hate and vitriol since this has happened. So there are definitely no surprises here. They also want to deflect from their nearly empty DNC convention that Kamala's been hiding from, and the fact that they have a mobile butchery out front.
Oh, I haven't really talked about that. Explain the mobile butchery. I bet half the people listening right now don't know about the mobile butchery.
So Parenthood brought a mobile bus out for each day of the DNC, and they are giving free abortions and free vasectomies. Believe it or not, don't have as many takers on the vasectomies, but they are proudly boasting that yesterday they murdered 25 babies, and they are celebrating that as a mark of something that should be tied. I mean, regardless of whether you are a Democrat, Independent, or Republican, you should be outraged by they would make a decision like that a decision like that would be cheapened to something on wheels out in front of a DNC convention. And Kamala wanting to tie herself to that kind of a legacy, that's what you would want to be known for as a female president, is someone who's having abortions on demand out in front of the DNC, which is only, at times half empty. They're not showing that, but it's been a real dumpster fire. There's no energy. There's no enthusiasm. And Kamala's been hiding out for days. So now we're going to see the end of the word salad.
Well, we still need to have Kamala Harris go out and answer questions from the press. This is a good time for her to duck and cover. She doesn't have to. She could be out answering questions like Trump. Is he taking questions right now?
Probably.
Yeah, I think he's taking questions right now here in Arizona. But they can hide her out for this week. She's going to be on a script all tonight. At some point, she's going to have to speak off the cuff. Is that going to ruin her?
Well, yes, but she's not going to, James. The problem is she's being propped up by all of the media. That's why she's not taking it. She is trying to skate to as close to the election as possible so people can't see. She's got nothing. There are no policies listed on her website. She has no platforms. The few things that she has gone off script, she ripped off from Trump. So the no tax on tips she tried to rip off. Now she's trying to up the capital gains tax. I mean, she is all over the map, where she's even got CNN downing her for that. So they know she is a disaster. She's got no policies unless she tries to steal them from President Trump. And she's not going to be able to hide, but she sure as heck is going to try.
Well, I did see one of her surrogates floated the idea that Kamala's looking into canceling some medical debt on top of student debt, some medical debt. So good. Another redistributive giveaway.
Yeah, correct. Why stop at just ignoring the Supreme Court on the border? Why not continue to, if you're going to transfer all the Harry Styles degrees, debt to the rest of us, why not we not pay for everybody else? But, again, are we having illegals pay for any of this? Why are they being given free money? And her new home buyer program, again, it's not first time. It's worded so that illegals can buy homes with that money.
What was the Harry Styles reference?
Because I don't know if you knew this, but they do actually offer degrees in Harry Styles and Taylor Swift. And these are the people who want their student loans paid off.
Well, what job are you qualified to get with a Harry Styles degree? No, I'm
going to go with groupie.
Groupie?
But
how many does he need?
But I don't know. But they're actually, somebody's actually teaching it. Somebody's actually paying to learn it. And then we're paying at the end of it.
Yeah, and if they have any health problems, we're probably going to have to pay for that too. Anyway, Raven Harrison, thank you very much for jumping on the show here. We're going to take a look at this Arizona situation. We may need to talk to you again soon.
Sounds great. Thanks, James.
Where can they find your work outside of WBAP, Raven?
They can find me at theroarmission.com, theroarpack.com, or ravenharrison.com. We're on top of it.
Thank you, Raven. All right, Donald Trump is still speaking. Now, when I was on the last commercial break, I was checking in on that, and it was him doing election stuff. He was talking about the job revisions from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that came out this week. And it turned into a campaign speech really quick. But I'll rewind it on my TiVo here. And if he says anything of consequence, I'll let you know in about 5 minutes. This is The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Have you heard the news today?
Job growth was overstated by 818,000 jobs.
Along with their bad energy policies, that's what caused this tremendous inflation, which is destroying the people of our country.
If Kennedy dropped and backed Trump, it could have a significant impact.
Don't miss a thing. Stay connected for whatever's next.
News Talk 820 WBAP.
And now, new on FM at 93.3.
For nearly 30 years, Thomas J. Henry has fought day in and day out for every client we've had the honor of representing. In our town, in our community, we will always be the name you trust. Thomas J. Henry. Available 24/7 nights and weekends. San Antonio, Texas.
If you're a video wizard and a content creation champion, we've got a job for you. Cumulus Media Dallas needs a digital dynamo who can craft captivating videos and stunning static creatives that grab attention across all platforms. Apply today at cumulusmedia.com/careers. Cumulus is an equal opportunity employer.
We're here at Genesis of Plano, part of the Huffines Auto family, for their 100th year of serving DFW and asking customers to sing the Huffines jingle. Today's guest, Tyler.
Huffines has it.
So, what was the it for you?
When I first walked through the door at Huffines, I was immediately greeted. Everybody was so friendly.
And when you visit Genesis of Plano, get low APR financing on luxurious new G70 sedans, GV70s, and GV80 SUVs. Start at genesisofplano.com.
Hey, North Texas. I've been talking up the good folks at Clarity Windows and Doors for some time now, extolling the virtues of energy savings, the added beauty and value to your home, and keeping out noise and dust. But there's another big advantage, and that is saving the wear and tear on your heating and cooling system. Texas weather can be like a roller coaster, and Clarity Windows help control your in-home temperature, taking a big load off your AC unit, and right now save 40% off every other window. Plus, great financing options to fit your budget. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call or click them online at claritywindows.com. Love your home again with timeless beauty and savings from Clarity Windows and Doors.
Bring clarity to your home. Clarity Windows and Doors.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Are you ready for more? Hello, it's Dane Miner, General Manager of Freeman Toyota. And when you shop with Freeman Toyota, you get 3 years of complimentary oil changes, plus 3 years of complimentary tire rotations, plus a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty with every new Freeman Toyota. 3 years of complimentary oil changes, plus tire rotations, plus a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Like I said, you get a lot more, and you won't pay a dime for it. Come see us at 183 and 820 or shop online at freemantoyota.com.
You know, sometimes the best getaway, just for a few minutes, you'll find it in your new shower, because it's not just a shower anymore, it's amazing. Statewide Remodeling has been turning your standard bathroom and shower into luxury escapes for over 30 years. And here in DFW, they're the exclusive provider for Kohler Luckstone products. Have you ever seen those? They're made of 70% crushed stone for a beautiful finish. It's really eye-catching, and it's very easy to clean. If you still have a tile box for a shower, if the bathroom is dated, make a change. Statewide Remodeling, 214-214-6000. Once you pick colors and designs, the installation, it won't take long, 1 or 2 days at most. And it all comes with a lifetime warranty. Plus, now is the time to get it done. Why? Well, you get 75% off installation plus 24-month financing with no payments and no interest. That means no payments for 2 full years and 0% interest. Statewide Remodeling, 214-214-6000. Call them today, 214-214-6000.
We have about a 20 to 30 minute delay in Dallas on northbound 35E because of a crash at Commonwealth taking out the left lane. Your stop and go back from Oaklawn. There's also about a 15-minute jam on eastbound 635 because of a disabled vehicle just before Plano Road blocking the right lane. You're backed up there from Forest. And in Fort Worth, 30 eastbound before Chapel Creek Boulevard, there's a crash in the right lane. Give yourself about 5 extra minutes from Spur 580. With WBAP First Traffic, I'm Colin Ellis.
Brought to you by the Rock Island Auction Company Premier Firearms Auction this weekend in Bedford.
Rock Island Auction Company's premier firearms auction is live this weekend, August 23rd through 25th, at their brand new Bedford location. Nearly 1,700 guns will sell in just 3 days. Military, antique, sporting, and more. Find out more at rockislandauction.com.
From the Airco AC Heating and Plumbing Studio, this is News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.
No, it's the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, checking in the situation going on, we have sort of a late breaking news situation. There's a manhunt underway. A guy who was suspected of planning to assassinate Trump. Arizona authorities are looking for him. He's got a warrant out in Wisconsin. He's got a warrant out in Arizona. The only new information I found is a little bit more on our suspect. 66-year-old guy, happens to be white. Not that that's important, but if some of you are keeping track for racial reasons, whatever. And he's also a registered sex offender. Ew. All right. So this is not a good guy, period. American people, what's going on? Well, we have two guys. I mean, if this story stands to bear out to be true, why do we have two near assassinations of this guy? Is it because he's the bad guy or because he's the good guy? Which one is it? Because either this guy is Hitler, because people tried to assassinate Hitler because he was taking the country in the wrong direction and he was doing some really evil things and he was just a really evil person. And if you've convinced half the country that Donald Trump is Hitler, you're crazy if you think some of them aren't going to have a similar reaction. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. My question here, is this really just a hell of a coincidence in that we have two lone wolf actors? Or is something going on behind the scenes? I'm not saying all the deep state is in on it. I'm not saying if there's a conspiracy. It may just be just reckless incompetence. But does the deep state want Trump dead? That's what you got to start asking yourself. It seems a little far-fetched, but not impossible. It seems possible, but not probable. What do you think? 800-288-9227. See, there's a couple of things I'm thinking about right now. Number one is, well, maybe it really is just lone wolves. And the problem is that the media keeps whipping up all this hatred toward the guy, to where some people out there who aren't, they don't have, they're a few fries short of a Happy Meal. They think they're doing the world some good. If you're 66 years old and you already have warrants in a couple states and you're a sex offender, so everybody hates you anyway, you may think this is some sort of redemptive move. Well, maybe I won't die and be remembered as a creeper and a villain. If I take out Trump, I could be remembered as a hero. If I'm the guy who takes out Hitler, well, then they won't talk about me being the weird old pervy guy at the end of the block. I'll be a hero. Maybe. And look, the diagnosis is important because if that's the problem, then fixing this problem is fundamentally changing the media, or at least holding them to account. Now, you and I can't hold them to account. Their followers have to hold them to account. The people who watch MSNBC have to either turn the channel or voice their opinions enough, or maybe even start boycotting sponsors. But I don't expect them to do that. It would have to get super worse than this to break them from their hold. So what do we do about it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's anything you can do about it. There's not a whole lot I can do about it. But at some point, is the American people going to see when you constantly demonize a guy, when you say He wants to control your body. He wants to come between you and your doctor. He doesn't want freedom. He wants fascism. He wants racism. He wants sexism. He wants homophobia. He wants all the bad stuff. He's all the bad things. That's wrong. You're going to get the guy killed. Here's the dangerous part. It's the same thing they say about you. It's the same thing they say about me. The not fun part about my job, and I love my job. I have a fun job. This is what I chased for my entire life. The not fun part about it, there's a chunk of society, there's about 20% of society out there, when they hear what I do, immediately hate me. Like, I don't mean like, oh, I'm not so sure about that. Hate me. Not be friends with me. Not talk to me. Not let their kids play with my kids. And why? Because I'm racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe? I'm none of those things. But they've been convinced I am. They've been convinced by these evil people on TV to hate me. Now, when I turn on Fox News, they're not convincing me and you to hate them. No one is saying, well, Kamala Harris is promoting communism. She's going to kill millions of us. She needs to be taken out. She needs to be stopped at all costs. No. We say, look at that. She's promoting communism, and half the country is dumb enough to fall for it. Ha, 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 ha. What a bunch of idiots. But we don't think they're evil. We don't think they're Nazis. We're not accusing them of bigotry. But they are doing that for you. Make no mistake, there's a kernel of truth when you see the memes passed around, or Donald Trump says it himself, where they're not coming after him. They're coming after you. He's just in the way. There's a little bit of truth to that. It's not Trump specific, though. Whoever is going to be the titular head of Team Red, I think you've noticed over the last however many presidential election cycles, they're always painted as a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe, hateful Nazi. That's got to stop. Lefties, grow up. Lefties, I'm talking to you. Stop this. 800-288-9227. Has this gone far enough yet, or does the man have to get killed before you realize, oh, maybe we should back off the hateful rhetoric? 800-288-9227. Coming up in 10 minutes, we'll talk with Stephen Moore, the guy who gave you your tax cuts under Trump, about what the heck is going on with the economy. This is the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of consumer cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
So you may be asking, what makes advanced hair restoration different? First off, Advanced Hair stands by their results. They got a bunch of before and after pictures. You need to check them out. It will blow your mind because it's your own natural hair and it's guaranteed to grow. Secondly, Advanced Hair combines top-rated physicians, modern technology, and a concierge quality experience. It's just hard to find it elsewhere. And lastly, Advanced Hair's Advanced FUE begins growing your own natural hair the very next day. Yes, it is that quick. It's that simple. It's that easy. Now, if you have a little time in your schedule this summer, you've been waiting for that special savings opportunity. Oh, it's here. Advanced Hair Summer Savings Event will get you the most hair for your dollar. It's their best offer ever. Call them. Find out. Schedule a free consultation at 469-599-HAIR. 469-599-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
How many times in recent memory has your financial advisor not reacted to current events and also not made a change in your investment portfolio? Now, think about all the volatile events during that time that have threatened your retirement.
That's Zach Abraham, Chief Investment Officer at Bulwark Capital and host of the Know Your Risk Radio podcast.
We talk about it all the time. Risk management. It's our number one focus. Looking for opportunities to lower risk, lower cost, and give you as much upside as possible. Let us show you how Bulwark's risk management strategy can protect that retirement you've worked so hard for.
And this is exactly why you need Zach and Bulwark Capital in your corner. Remember, you get only one retirement. So learn how Bulwark does it with their free Common Sense Investing Guide. Call 866-779-RISK or go to knowyourriskradio.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Track Financial LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Investments involve risk and are not guaranteed. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Track 24244.
Men over 45. Do you have a frequent, urgent need to urinate or a weak flow? Do you suffer from an enlarged prostate or BPH? Know your options. If BPH medications are bothering you or you're worried about invasive surgery, ask about the UroLift system. The UroLift system is an outpatient, minimally invasive procedure. It reopens the channel with no cutting and provides rapid symptom relief with no new, sustained erectile or ejaculatory dysfunction, as shown in a clinical study. Go to urolift.com and click on Find a Physician for a doctor near you. Urolift.com. UROLIFT.com. Most common side effects are temporary and can include discomfort when urinating, urgency, inability to control the urge, pelvic pain, and some blood in the urine. Rare side effects, including bleeding and infection, may lead to a serious outcome and may require intervention. If you suffer from symptoms of an enlarged prostate or BPH, the UroLift system is a proven alternative to BPH medication or invasive surgery. Visit urolift.com and click on Find a Physician to speak to a doctor to see if you're a candidate for the UroLift system.
This year, resolve to take care of all of those pesky home repair projects you've been putting off in an easy, stress-free way. The Good Contractors List has fully vetted contractors for all of your home projects, from gutters to garage floor coatings, painters to pest control. The Good Contractors List has the pro for you. And even better than that, they back all their contractors with a $10,000 guarantee. So you're not left with an unfinished project if something goes awry. Promising such a hefty guarantee means the Good Contractors List has to carefully select only the best contractors with a proven track record of solid work and great business ethics. Stop worrying that your project could go sideways and find your stress-free home contractors for every project at thegoodcontractorslist.com. That's thegoodcontractorslist.com.
DFW's News, Talk, Traffic, and Weather Station. News Talk 820 WBAP AM, Fort Worth, Dallas. 93.3 WBAP FM, Haltom City, Dallas. And 99.5 KPLX FM HD2, Fort Worth, Dallas.
Streaming live on our free mobile app.
A Cumulus Media Station.
Trending now.
The former president speaks in a state where law enforcement are trying to find a man who threatened him. I'm Eric Bushman from the Novak Motors News Desk.
ClassicChevrolet.com. WBAP's first traffic and weather.
On the ones.
Why do so many Texans love Classic Chevrolet and Grapevine? We're the #1 Chevy dealership in the world. New Silverados, more than anyone. Malibus, Blazers, Equinox. Gotta visit ClassicChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. Based on new Chevrolet registrations 2023.
Plenty hot the rest of the week. Heat indices feels like temps to 105 plus each afternoon. Actual highs at that century mark or hotter. All precautions outdoors. Rest of the day, heat advisory through the evening. Near 100 for the high. Heat indices as hot as 107. Sunshine, a hot gusty south breeze. Clear tonight, low 79. Sunny and hot Friday, 101 the high. Heat indices to 110. Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you. For WBAP News, I'm meteorologist Mark Thibodeau at the Weather Channel.
97 degrees in Dallas, 100 in Fort Worth. This news brought to you by the Wilhite Law Firm. Cochise County, Arizona Sheriff's Office is confirming that a manhunt is underway for a man they believe has threatened to kill former President Donald Trump. As the former president speaks in that state this afternoon, Fox's Alicia Acuna is in Cochise County with the details.
He's scheduled here to highlight the border crisis, speak on immigration and security, which is one of his strengths, according to so many of the polls out there when you compare it to Kamala Harris. However, the headline now today is coming out of Cochise County in that the sheriff here has confirmed that there is a manhunt underway for a man, 66-year-old Ronald Servid, for threatening to kill former President Trump. Fox News Digital reporting that the intended target was Trump.
Meanwhile, Vice Presidential nominee J.D. Vance delivered remarks in Georgia speaking on border security and immigration. A Democratic presidential nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris, will take center stage at the Democratic National Convention tonight in Chicago, where it is anticipated she will open up to voters, sharing more personal details. Here's Fox's Jackie Heinrich.
There are a lot of reports that tonight the vice president is going to use her time in the spotlight to tell her life story, much like her much lesser known vice presidential nominee. Even though she has been serving as vice president for the last 3.5 years, there are a lot of questions that remain about some of her more progressive policy positions and reported reversals on them. She has yet to speak to those fully, including reversals on fracking, on single-payer healthcare system, on an assault weapons buyback program. And there are reportedly some tensions between more progressive Democrats and the centrists over how she should handle big issues like immigration and Israel if she is to win in November.
Harris's speech closes out the convention cycle, and the general election goes into what I call 100% mode. A legal standoff may be brewing between the city of Dallas and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. The state fair's ban on concealed carry license holders from carrying firearms during the state fair of Texas has taken center stage. Paxton says the Fair Board does not have the authority to overrule the state legislature.
Well, unfortunately for them, it's not within their control. This is set by the state legislature, who was elected by the people of Texas, and the law is pretty clear that they cannot do what they're trying to do. So they certainly can try to, but we'll end up having a court determine the ultimate outcome.
Paxton says state law allows Texans to legally carry guns on government property, such as Fair Park. Your money news: the number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits rose modestly last week, but remains at healthy levels. Jobless claims rose by 4,000 to 232,000 for the week of August 17th. The four-week average of claims, which evens out some of the weekly gyrations, ticked down by 750 to 236,000. The Dow's down 178 points, NASDAQ down 300, the S&P 500 off by 50. Again, the high today, 100. It is 97 in Dallas, 100 in Fort Worth. This news also brought to you by the original Fort Worth Gun Show this weekend at the Will Rogers Memorial Center. Your next news update is at 3:30. I'm Eric Bushman. Check back several times throughout your day and keep connected, DFW, to News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP for the latest on Decision 2024. WBAP salutes Cedar Hill. Thank you, Cedar Hill, for listening today to News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
This hour on WBAP is brought to you by the Wilhite Law Firm Injury Lawyers. Go to WilhiteWins.com.
That's WilhiteWins.com.
Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Let's go. All right, of all the things that are being talked about on the campaign trail, the one that affects you most is economic issues, and that's every election cycle, unless we're in World War II or something like that. Look, this is what causes empires, countries, civilizations to rise and fall. They're a stewardship of the economy. The Roman Empire didn't collapse because trannies didn't get to choose their bathroom. The Ottoman Empire didn't collapse because they couldn't have abortions up to the 9th month. It's always been the economy. It's the most important thing we do in D.C., and I believe it deserves a little more attention. One of the reasons is for lunch, I went to Jimmy John's, got a regular combo. I made the god-awful mistake of adding cheese, because now a slice of cheese is $1.29. $16. $16 is what I paid for lunch, and I didn't go get a steak. I got Jimmy John's. I got a salad wrap. Jesus. All right, Stephen Moore is my next guest. This is a guy I need to talk to. If you don't recognize the name, he's one of the great economic minds of the last 30 years, a Trump advisor, and partially wrote the tax cuts that you got in 2017 that are set to expire at the end of next year already. Stephen Moore, welcome back to the James Show.
Well, thanks so much for having me. And by the way, this literally just came across 30 minutes ago. Have you seen the news report about the Kamala Harris tax plan that she just released?
I did not. No, not in the last 30 minutes.
This is a big deal. I want people to pay close attention. This is a really big deal. These people are completely out of their minds. They're proposing a $5 trillion increase, not $5 billion, $5 trillion tax increase. And I'm going to, if I may, can I just read you some of the insane ideas that they're talking about?
That's why you're here, please.
I don't know if these people are intentionally trying to destroy our country, but if they have a plan to try to do that, this would be a good way to do it. So I'm just going to read you some of this stuff because you're not even going to believe this, but it's been reported by the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. And so here are the numbers. Okay, I'm pulling these up right now. Okay, here it is. She wants to, ready this? Okay. She wants to raise the corporate tax rate on our American businesses from 21% to 28%. That's like putting a tariff on our own goods and services. How stupid is that? We're going to put every American business at a competitive disadvantage in competing against China and Japan and Mexico and other countries. So that's a crazy policy. And by the way, it reverses the successful Trump tax cut we put in place back in 2017, which I was very proud to have a hand in.
Look, I know you're only going to make me madder with this. So
stock buybacks from 1% to 4%, which will mean that you raise the tax on stocks and the value of stocks go down. So anybody who has a 401k plan would see a reduction in the value of their pension plan. Here's another one. They want to put in place double a global minimum tax from 10% to 20%. Why should we have any global minimum tax?
What is a global minimum tax?
Tax system. All right, I'm not done yet. They want to raise the top income tax rate from 37% to 40%. Boy, that'll do a lot of good for America. They want to raise the corporate minimum tax from 15 to 21%. They want to now this is insanity. They want to raise the capital gains tax. That's a tax you get when you make a gain on owning a stock or owning a farm or a ranch. They want to double that tax from 24 to 43.5%. And then most diabolical of all, they want to impose, for the first time in American history, a 25% tax on an unrealized capital gain. So do you know what that means, an unrealized capital gain?
Yeah, so if I have like a rental property that's worth $400,000 and next year it's worth $500,000, I'm going to get taxed on that $100,000 gain, even though I didn't sell the house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that crazy? I mean, so let's take you're there in Texas. Let's say you own a ranch. And let's say you bought the ranch for $500,000, and then 20 years later, let's say the ranch is worth $4 million. Now you've got a ranch that's worth $5 million, but you haven't sold it. You've just got its value on paper has gone up. They would charge you 25% tax on $4.5 million. Where's the rancher going to get the money to pay the tax? They would literally. I mean, I shouldn't be laughing because this is just craziness. They would literally force people to sell a farm or sell a ranch just to pay the taxes.
So you would have a whole bunch of ranches go on the market. The bottom would fall out of the real estate market. Oh, this is okay.
Yes. I mean,
why are we act surprised?
The rich stuff. It's all sack it to the rich because they're the dangerous ones. Like the people who are in the top 1% that they want to tax here are the people who create businesses and own the businesses. Now, I know that Kamala Harris doesn't understand this because she's never worked for a business. She's never started a business. She's never made a profit in her life. But if you it's going to make it really simple. If without businesses, without profits, you don't have businesses. Without businesses, you don't have jobs. Without jobs, the whole economy is destroyed.
Stephen Moore, I'm not too surprised about any of this considering who her father is.
I guess. I mean, this, ladies and gentlemen, is hot off the presses, would be the largest tax increase in the history of the civilized world.
Well, if you needed a reason to vote for Team Red, that's probably the top one is this tax plan. Man, I'm going to have to look some of this up.
I wonder if any of your listeners believe that the way to prosperity is to massively raise taxes.
They've just whittled the hatred for half of this country of successful people into where they think this is justified.
And they don't understand that, even those of us who aren't rich, and I'm not rich, I do pretty well, but I'm not rich. I'm not a millionaire. But everybody aspires to get rich. That's the American dream, to get rich. And folks, what I'm saying is, if you do get rich, if your boat comes in, you start a business and you make the money, they're going to tax it away from you.
That unrealized capital gains tax, is that something that clocks every year?
So every time that the property would appreciate, well, first of all, it would start on day one. So all the appreciation of any property that you bought, maybe even going back to the 1980s, you'd have to pay this enormous tax bill in the first year. Then any time after that, if the thing appreciates in value, you pay a tax. Now here, think about what a trick this is. What about if you lose money on the rents? Do you think they're going to give you your money back?
Yeah, you'll get a write-off or something, but we're also doing this in an environment where we're printing $2 trillion a year. So when you're guaranteeing us, 3 to 9% inflation every year, the property value is not actually going up with the nominal value, but you're going to be taxed on that anyway.
Very good point. So, one of the reasons we have a preferential tax treatment for capital gains is because we don't take account of the inflation. So that, let's say that ranch that I was talking about in an earlier example, maybe you bought it for $500,000. Now it's worth, say, $4 million, but you bought it 30 years ago. Adjusted for inflation, you didn't even really make that much money on it. And yet they're going to tax you on the inflated value of these people are diabolical, really, when you think about it.
All right, Stephen Moore, thank you very much for the economic update there. I'll go look up more on this tax plan, and we all learned something in this segment, that's for sure.
I didn't ruin your afternoon there.
It was already ruined. Lunch was good, but it was $16, so thank you, Steve.
Okay, see ya.
All right, I was already in a bad mood. That just made it a little worse. 800-288-9227. Don't you love that tax plan? Can someone from Team Blue call in and defend that tax plan? I've been pretty good about getting Democrats to call in, or people who are Democrat-leaning to call in. I would love to hear from one of you right now. Call in, defend that plan. Tell me why that's good for America. Tell me how that would make America better. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I don't foresee anybody taking the Pepsi challenge on this one, though, Garrett. But if anyone else wants to call in, your thoughts, 800-288-9227. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Even the liberals can't quit saying his name.
Donald Trump. 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 Trump.
Decision 2024. News Talk 820 WBAP.
And now on WBAP FM at 93.3.
Here's automotive expert and nationally syndicated talk show host, Jerry Reynolds.
The summer sales events in the final weeks at the 4 DFW 5-star Ford dealerships. All 4 locations are stocked up and they're offering amazing deals right now on over 2,500 new Fords. Looking for low interest rates and cash back? Well, they got both at 5-star Ford. 2024 F-150 XLTs have 3.9% APR for 60 plus 1,900 cash back. Or you can get a whopping 4,250 cash back. 2024 Explorer 2.9 for 60 and 2,300 cash back. 24 Edge has 1.9 for 60 plus 2,500 cash back. Keep in mind the low rates and big cash back are before the big 5-star Ford discounts. New Fords just got a whole lot cheaper at 5-star Ford in Carrollton, North Richland Hills, Louisville, and Dallas, the dealerships you've trusted for 44 years. Sampac.com.
We're taking care of business.
You have spent the last 10 years building a successful business, but recently it's been tough. You are behind on payroll taxes, and the IRS is coming after your business and you personally. Hi, I'm local attorney Nick Namath with the law offices of Nick Namath, located right here in Dallas. Don't spend sleepless nights wondering if you are going to lose your business and your personal assets. The IRS is one of the most powerful agencies in the federal government, and it can and will aggressively target businesses who have not paid their payroll taxes and can also target the business owner personally. If you are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, Nick Namath, today. I have helped many businesses and individuals in DFW resolve payroll and other types of tax problems. So whether you owe the IRS $20,000 or $2 million, why not let us try and help you? Your first visit is free and confidential, and we have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. So call us now at 972-484-0829. That's 972-484-0829, or go to myiRsteam.com.
it's not something we think about all the time, but did you know that growing tree roots, either in your front yard or backyard or off to the side of the house, those could be causing nagging drain issues? Call Benjamin Franklin Plumbing today and get ahead of what could be a very expensive repair. Right now, you can save $120 with their summer drain cleaning special. Call to schedule yours today for just $79. Joe, their licensed plumber, by the way, they're all licensed, drug tested, background checked. He was extremely knowledgeable and knew exactly what he was talking about, put our minds at ease. And the women who own Benjamin Franklin Plumbing, they're experts in their field, and they know that opening your home to a contractor does require a lot of trust. Randy from Mansfield writes, Ben Franklin Plumbing serviceman Lance came out and worked on our shower and hot water heater. We found his work excellent, timely, and would highly recommend him and his company. And don't forget, Benjamin Franklin Plumbing is the punctual plumber, and they will pay you $5 for every minute they're late, because if there's any delay, it's you they pay. Call Benjamin Franklin Plumbing today at 866-4-BEN-NOW. Again, that's 866-4-BEN-NOW.
Still dealing with a slowdown in Dallas on northbound 35E. The crash was cleared at Commonwealth, but the jam's still unwinding from Market Center. They also cleared a disabled vehicle on eastbound 635 at Plano Road. Still have about 10 minutes of delay there from Greenville. In 20 eastbound, there's a new crash at Houston School Road, blocking 3 right lanes. This one already has a major jam built up back from Highway 67. Give yourself about an extra hour to get through. With WBAP First Traffic, I'm Colin Ellis.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Shop Labor Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, buy one, get one free on select interior paint via Lowe's gift card rebate, because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 9/4 while supplies last. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details.
Brought to you by Men's Edge Medical. Don't be fooled by gimmicks and promises of shockwave therapy treatment. Men's Edge Medical offers real solutions. If you suffer from ED and premature stamina, call Men's Edge Medical, 972-996-0900. You'll wish you called sooner.
Hey, it's your friend in freedom here, Dan Bongino, WBAP's Morning News tomorrow, 5 a.m. till 9, only on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
All right. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Donald Trump is still speaking live in Arizona. He's been out there for almost an hour now, right? Now he's taking questions. So this is morphed. We've had some breaking news just since the show started. 2 things have happened. Number one, there's a manhunt underway in Arizona where Trump is speaking right now. He made a trip to Arizona. Apparently there's some sort of actionable threat against him, and cops are trying to track down this 66-year-old sex offender weirdo under the claims that, there was an actionable assassination threat. So then Donald Trump goes out, gives a quick little assessment of the situation, moves into a campaign speech, has been speaking this whole time, and now is taking questions. Every single day, almost, this guy is out just fielding random questions from random people, no scripting, no vetting, no teleprompters. And this is what Kamala Harris is avoiding every day. Voters, she's asking for your vote, but she's not telling you what she's going to stand for. She's asking for your vote, but she's not answering questions about how she would govern. He is. I mean, just based on that alone, one of them's clearly being more transparent than the other. What does she have to hide? So I was checking in on it in the break, and I've actually found a good clip I thought you'd be interested in. I don't know if you can hear the reporter really good, but when he's talking about, the situation at the border, he brought out Jocelyn Nunguri's mom. Remember the girl in Houston, the 12-year-old that was raped and killed by 2 illegals, a month or 2 ago? Her mom spoke for a second. Trump gets up, starts taking questions, and the reporter says, well, look, if you're so concerned about shutting down the border, then why wouldn't you support the bipartisan border security bill? Go ahead.
Why not support that bipartisan border security bill? And how do you get people on board with all the things that you talked about, the policies that you just laid out? How do you get people to come to the table?
You ready?
Yeah.
The bipartisan, and it wasn't bipartisan, they had a couple of people on the other side. It was weak. It was ineffective, and it would have allowed, as you know, millions and millions of people to pour through, and largely unvetted. It was a horrible bill. It was a weak bill, and they don't need a bill. All Biden had to do is look to the border and say, close the border. He didn't need a bill. He knows that. They didn't want a bill. The bill was terrible. If it was good, I would have approved it. The House passed a bill before that. I'd approve that bill right now. That was a real bill. But this bill was a weak bill, and it was a shame that they got a Republican. They got somebody who's a very good person, by the way, but they got him to lead it. But it didn't make any difference. If they wanted to close the border, which they don't. They'll have 100 million people come in and totally destroy, ruin our country. If they wanted to close the border, I didn't have a bill. I said, close the border. I said, Brandon, close that border, Brandon. And what happened? He closed the border. They all did. Paul,
hang on, hit pause right here. Hit pause right here. When he was saying Brandon, he wasn't making a Biden joke. There's a guy standing behind him named Brandon. So anyway, go ahead.
It's incredible. They closed the border. I looked at him. I said, we don't have a bill. We don't need a bill. Close the damn border. They closed the border. They could do the same thing.
It's happening now, though. The encounter numbers are extremely low right now. So that's what's done.
Right now, what's happening is people are waiting to see what's going to go with the election. And wait till you see what happens after the election, one way or the other. But right now, you take a look at the numbers for the last year. They're horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And it's also election time, don't forget. They want to put on a little bit of a squeeze. All they do and all they want to do and all they have to do is say, Biden, although I'm not sure, you take a look at, nobody even knows where he is. He's on a beach someplace, but he could even do it from the beach. Close the border. And the border is closed. They will close the border immediately. That's what I did. But we had great people. We've lost a lot of those great people because they want to be respected, and they weren't respected because of this administration. And the worst person in, far worse than Biden, was Kamala. That's why I call her comrade, because she's a radical left person who really wants to have an open border. She'll never close the border. She'll never drill for oil and gas. She's not going to do it. She might do it for a couple of months. She stopped, and that's where the inflation came in. Then she went back to the Trump policy. What they don't say is that if I were there, I'd be now 4 times higher than I was at that moment. But the gasoline prices are still very high right now. But they would have been double if they didn't go back to the Trump policy of drilling.
All right, so that's Trump live in Arizona, just answering rando questions from reporters. And look, this was a scheduled press availability, but he was going to be talking about some border issues. He had already brought along the mother of Jocelyn Nungary to make a press appearance here. But added to the spice of the situation was an assassination threat, and there is a manhunt underway. And here he is again, just out there taking questions. Kamala Harris, where you at? This is what she needs to be doing. She needs to be just answering some rando questions, not doing it. But then the other side gets suspicious about that after a while. Doesn't like Team Blue? Don't y'all get suspicious when your candidate hides out? When Joe Biden hid out for all those months, now Kamala's hiding out for all these months. That doesn't bother you? Doesn't bother you a bit? Doesn't bother you that they threw out the election results of all 50 primaries? Doesn't bother you? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. This is The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Ever since I was a kid, I looked up to my dad. He could fix anything, including generators. That puff of smoke and the sound of the machine roaring with electricity was the coolest thing ever. He'd give me a high five and say, "You're the Kennerator." To make Dad proud, I built my own generator for the science fair. With my Cub Scout knife, I whittled down mesquite for power poles and fastened copper wires, all leading to a tiny house. When you cranked the handle, the porch light came on. On the day of the science fair, my teacher, Mr. Cutler, said, "I can tell you Daddy built this, so I'm giving you an F." And I said, "You just wait. Someday everybody will call me the Kennerator." Since then, I've spent decades building my company with one goal, helping people like my dad did. And now I own the best generator company in DFW. Kaboom, Cutler! See our story at Kennerator.com, like generator with a K. Kennerator.com.
This is Victor McClure from the Common Sense Investing Radio Show. In my 30-plus years as a financial advisor, I've never seen higher income payouts than right now. For years, I could invest in an annuity for 10 years. The payout would be about $100,000 a year per million. That's about 10% of what I put it in. And that's income for me and my spouse as long as we live. Now, I'm getting up to $150,000 per million over the same deferring 10 years. Just to get that 10% is only taking 3 or 4 years now. These higher interest rates we have temporarily are causing these historically high annuity payouts. As soon as they start lowering interest rates, annuity payouts will also decrease. Think about it. Up to 15% guaranteed. In other words, every million gives me $150,000 a year in joint life income. My heirs still get the balance if something happens to me. Call us and we'll give you the exact guaranteed income amounts based on your situation. Call 972-960-8700. Again, 972-960-8700 or go to ilovemyretirement.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition smart bed. Limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Ugh, I've been feeling so sluggish. I'm just kind of blah. Been there. That's why I take Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites. But I suppose they taste blah. Actually, they taste delicious. It's an apple blueberry flavored center covered in a yogurt coating and is infused with probiotics to help support a healthy gut. They come 5 in a pouch. I just toss one in my bag and go. Toss one in my bag? Get your own.
New Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites from the makers of the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Find them in the digestive care aisle.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text TAP to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text TAP to 321-321. That's TAP to 321-321.
DFW's News, Talk, Traffic, and Weather Station. News Talk 820 WBAP. And now on FM at 93.3.
Streaming live on our free mobile app.
A Cumulus Media Station. Trending now.
The former president visits the border ahead of his opponent accepting her party's nomination. I'm Eric Bushman from the Novak Motors News Desk.
ClassicChevrolet.com. WBAP's first traffic and weather.
On the ones.
We have a new crash in Tarrant County on I-20 westbound. A little bit after Anglin Drive, it's blocking 2 left lanes. You have about a 45-minute delay built up all the way back from Green Oaks. 20 eastbound in Dallas, there's a crash at Houston School Road. It's blocking 1 right lane. This delay has lightened up a little bit, but it's still going to cost you about 20 to 30 extra minutes. And there's also a crash on northbound I-45 just before Loop 12 Ledbetter. Right lane blocked here and traffic stacking up around Simpson Stewart. With WBAP, first traffic and weather on the ones, I'm Colin Ellis.
Why do so many Texans love Classic Chevrolet and Grapevine? We're the #1 Chevy dealership in the world. New Silverados, more than anyone. Malibus, Blazers, Equinox, got them. Visit ClassicChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. Based on new Chevrolet registrations 2023.
The WBAP forecast, a heat advisory is in effect for the rest of the day. Sunny, a high 100. Heat index up to 108. It is 97 in Dallas, 100 in Fort Worth. This news brought to you by Novak Motors. Former President Donald Trump is touring the border in Cochise, Arizona today as he tries to paint his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, as weak on immigration. This hour is ahead of her acceptance speech at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago.
5 people have been killed during the convention. 71 people have been either hurt or shot. What a country. What a country. Then she'll get up tonight and she'll say, oh, it's so wonderful. It's so wonderful.
Trump spoke in Arizona while authorities there search for a man who is accused of making threats to the former president. Your Money News plans to construct the eastern connection of the President George Bush Turnpike are in the works.
The North Texas Tollway Authority is holding public meetings to unveil a potential east branch of the President George Bush Turnpike. NTTA's Michael Ray says regional TxDOT planners have studied the Dallas Outer Loop as a roadway corridor since 1969.
This would be about 11 miles that would connect I-20 and I-30, and really very impactful for Garland, Mesquite, and Sunnyvale.
Now, after 55 years of discussions, public meetings are being held to gather input from residents to shape the future of the infrastructure project. Mike Trena, WBAP News.
The Dow closed down 178 points, NASDAQ down 300, the S&P 500 fell by 50. Again, the high today 100, it is 97 in Dallas, 100 in Fort Worth. Your next news update is at 4 o'clock. I'm Eric Bushman. Check back several times throughout your day and keep connected DFW to News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP for the latest on Decision 2024.
Well, with training camp now over for the Cowboys out in Oxnard, there's still work to be done. From our Mullen & Mullen Law Firm Sports Desk, I'm Steve Lamb. Off the field yesterday, news breaking that the team continued the makeover with their defensive line by agreeing to a one-year deal with veteran defensive lineman Linval Joseph. Joseph, who's 35, played 6 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings when Mike Zimmer was their head coach. Zimmer, now the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, focus on improving the run defense, where last week they got Jordan Phillips in a trade with the New York Giants and also signed pass rusher Carl Lawson. Cowboys might not have any news to report on their holdout wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. It looks like on the other side of the ball, they could be pretty good. College football coming up this weekend. You've got a handful of games. Starting at 11 o'clock Saturday morning from Dublin, Ireland. It's the Florida State Seminoles against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Then at 2:30, down in Stephenville, the Tarleton State Texans hosting McNeese. And Saturday night from Reno, Nevada, the Wolfpack are home against the SMU Mustangs. That's your Thursday afternoon sports update. I'm Steve Lamb.
Brought to you by Bannon Tree Farm in Frisco.
Looking to buy a tree for your home or business? There's only one place, and that's Bannon Tree Farm in Frisco. They have the largest tree inventory, the most knowledgeable, friendly staff, and every tree comes with that 1-year Bannon guarantee. Go get you a tree from Bannon Tree Farm in Frisco. Visit BannonTreeFarm.com.
This report is sponsored by Bank of America. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, N.A. Copyright 2024.
The political battle is heating up. Keep connected, DFW, for the latest on Decision 2024. News Talk 820, WBAP.
And now on FM at 93.3.
Hey there, welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. A story I was talking about earlier this week. There's a lawsuit against Dallas ISD for the way they were vindictively treating students that didn't go along with the lifting of the mask mandate. And by lifting, Governor Abbott lifted the mask mandate, but allowed schools to make their own decisions on mask mandates, but as long as they accommodate certain exceptions. Well, they weren't too good about accommodating exceptions. They stuck these kids in a plexiglass box in the library all day for 2 months after the mandate had been lifted. And the parents just come up with a laundry list of other ways that the district was pretty much abusive to kids because they were really trying to punish the parents for not getting in line. Now, a guy called in, Lance, and he says he was a superintendent at the time. And I really need to talk to him because this morning, in breaking news, a new COVID-19 vaccine has been approved. It's from Pfizer, and the FDA just approved it. And it's about to appear in pharmacies and doctor's office, and you're about to start hearing commercials. Time to get your updated booster. So this COVID thing is not behind us. However, Lance, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, James.
What does the outside world not know about what it was like being a superintendent in a public school during the COVID pandemic?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, James. And I can tell you what most folks don't realize is that at the very beginning of the governor's overreach and the government's overreach in March of 2020, most schools in Texas took a spring break, and we all get a week spring break when everyone was fine with that. The governor originally asked us to take a second week. Okay, so all of us, including myself, said, okay, we can take 2 weeks off at spring. That's great. Give our kids and teachers more time so we can kind of, see what's going on. Well, then immediately he came out and said, well, we need 2 more weeks to, quote unquote, flatten the curve. Well, that's when myself and I don't really know of very many more school leaders around the country did this. We started looking at the information, the data for ourselves. We started actually reading research and trying to figure out what in the world is going on. And it became evident to us very, very early that we were being lied to by the national media. And you see it even in today's politics, the propaganda. But we were just flat out being lied to. So I sent the governor a letter really, demanding that he allow the local education agency, the district I was in at the time, to make our own decisions because, we were ready to go back to school. 2 weeks after spring break in March of 2020, we were ready to open our school back up, and he did not respond. In fact, they just doubled down and said school was closed the rest of the semester. The governor himself, and this is what I want our listeners to hear, James. Yes, and let me be clear with this. I'm probably the only superintendent that is for parent choice and for school choice. I have no issues with vouchers. I'm a conservative Christian man. I think parents have the choice. And yes, I will say that a large percentage of the leaders in school districts today are not leaders. Superintendents do not stand the ground and defend kids and take care of kids the way they're supposed to in our schools today. But let me be clear on this point to your listeners. Greg Abbott's executive orders were what shut our schools down in the spring of 2020, and Greg Abbott's July 2nd executive order of 2020 is what forced masks on our kids. So when he talks about parent choice, I've tried to get a conversation with him. I want to say, where were the parents' choice during that time? Because the data I looked at, let me give you an example.
Please.
The cruise ship in the February of 2020 that was supposed to be this petri dish of spreading COVID that was quarantined for 2 weeks off the coast. You guys, I think it was the Princess cruise ship or something to this effect. One of the first pieces of data I looked up in March of 2020, I said, okay, if this thing really is what they say it is, what we're being inundated with on the nightly news, then, man, I'm doing this in my head. I'm thinking, man, at least, 75% of those people on that cruise ship had to have caught COVID. And there must have been dozens of deaths. When you go back, and your listeners can go back and pull this up, and I'm paraphrasing here, but there was roughly 400 passengers on that cruise ship. Only 6 deaths were attributed to COVID, and only 20% of those people ever caught the virus. So I'm sitting here I'm thinking, okay, to myself, wow, this isn't anything what they're telling us. So then I started looking for, just trying to really guess what was coming down the pipe. And I sent a letter to our community at Memorial Day, and I said, listen, there are some quote-unquote conspiracy theories floating around, and I was being asked by my parents, are we going to have a new normal? And I flat out just said, look, we're not having a new normal in our school district. We're going to stand up for our kids. I do not believe in, I said this in May of 2020. We do not believe in masking our kids. We do not believe in separating our kids on the playground. We do not believe in kids sitting in small groups so they can't talk to each other. All of this was conspiracy theory in May of 2020. And lo and behold, that's what our school districts did in August and September of 2020. But they did that because Greg Abbott opened that door with his executive order in July of 2020. Because here's the reality. Most of those people aren't strong enough to stand up and make that decision without the backing of that executive order. Right. In my circles, in my county, we would have phone conversations, just the superintendents, with the county judge and the county health official. And I kid you not, they would say, Mr. Health Official, we really want you to make this mandate stick so that it gives us cover. And I would stop them, and I would say, look, guys,
cowards.
I don't care what you guys do. But in my school district, my board and my community is very capable of making the decisions that's best for our kids. And I said, we will not comply with those. And to the credit of our judge, I'm not going to mention his name, but the credit of our judge and our sheriff's department, they stood behind us. And let me tell you this, James, in February of 2021, that judge called me into his office and he said, Lance, he said, let me get this straight. You guys made no changes to your protocols, to your school day. You packed out your gyms for athletic events. I said, yes, in fact, we even started new initiatives, Judge. He said, well, according to our data, you have the healthiest school district in our county.
Where was it?
That is a fact.
Where was your school district?
In Parker County. That was Peaster ISD.
All right. And it's not my county. It's probably a different county. I mean, a different Parker. Look, Lance, I love hearing these stories because I had a very unique experience during COVID that really just blew the lid off the whole thing. If everyone had seen what I seen, because I was living in New Orleans when it started, and I was working on a TV station and a radio station, and I got blown out of both of those because I didn't wear a mask or get a vaccine or comply, and I was just, at the time, I guess they just thought I was a butthead. In hindsight, I was right. I was prophetic. So my next job was here in Dallas. It was on the USA Radio Network, which is now defunct, doesn't exist. But I have a house. I have my whole family, and my center of the universe is actually out in East Texas in Tyler. So I would go from New Orleans to Tyler to Dallas to Tyler to New Orleans to Tyler to Dallas to Tyler. And I got to see how different everyone treated it. And let me tell you something. Once you drive like 2 hours in any direction from where I'm at right now, COVID did not exist after May 2020. And the people that were out in the sticks were laughing at the TV because all of these people in all these other cities and the big cities and stuff were just torturing their kids and killing their businesses and ruining their society and their prosperity and just totally punching themselves in the face over and over while calling us stupid. And I don't know if people understand like how different the world was when I would go to like small town outside of Tyler in like the summer of 2020 versus going to Dallas or New Orleans where people are masked up and wearing vaccines and social distancing and there's stickers on the floor and you can't have concerts and whatnot. They were living in an absolute fantasy land. And I don't think the people who live in the bubble understand how silly they look to the outside world. And you were the outside world.
Oh, that's exactly right. We in May of 2020, we had our ag stock show, just like we always did, people everywhere. We had kids on our fields, our community members on our tracks. This is May of 2020. We had graduation as usual. We didn't shut any of that.
God bless you. I see. This is why I wanted to have you on. These stories need to be heard because the lesson here, and this isn't for you, Lance, this is for the people listening to us, is that everything that they did to your kids for the last 4 years was torture for nothing. They abused your kids for lies. They ruined your kids' education, their social development, their friend groups, their extracurricular activities. If they had dreams, some of them got knocked off tracks, and they were all lies. Half of the country wasn't paying attention to that. And we didn't all die. We had the exact same outcome as you people who masked your kids, who put bubbles around them, who put plexiglass up everywhere, who canceled all their events, who canceled prom, who didn't get to go to grandma's funeral, who didn't get to go to church. You people were all duped. You were all fools. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm saying so you wake up and don't fall for this anymore. Stop being dupes. Stop being fools. Stop listening to the people on the TV who have been wrong about everything, who are wrong about the origin of the virus, the mask, to the Dionysus being the reference and the opening of the Olympics, to all these things. And by the way, another thing, just while we're at it, men can have babies too, just so you know. Anyway, Lance, what are you doing these days?
Well, I am an education consultant these days. I serve on an education foundation board called Seek Collaborative Education Foundation. In fact, we're having Pat Green in Weatherford on October 5th, so your listeners can look that up, seekef.org. And I visit and help a lot of school districts out. I mentor superintendents, and I really am enjoying that. But, I'll tell you, during that time that was very tough for everyone, I don't want to downplay.
We got 30 seconds here, Lance.
Well, I want everyone to know that when you vote at the polls and when you go vote, your vote matters. And again, we talk about holding our superintendents accountable for this, and I agree. I said this to my colleagues: if you're making your kids mask, that's a punishment. That is unnecessary. That is child abuse. If you're encouraging the vaccine, that's child abuse. But Greg Abbott and the politicians started that, and nobody is holding them accountable. And I want people to email him and call him and say, yeah, that's right. You're the one that forced this mask mandate on everybody in Texas, and that should never happen in Texas under Greg Abbott. All
right, Lance Johnson, thank you very much for your time on The James Show. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Hey, it's Dan Bongino. The most important election in American history is right on the way. Get fair and balanced coverage here. News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM 93.3.
At the Wilhite Law Firm, we handle accident cases differently. If you're injured, we'll drive to your home to meet you. We'll return every call and keep you updated every step of the way. Here's the difference. We were awarded Best Law Firm in 2023 because we work with you side by side. We win big for our clients. Texas-size settlements big. Get your free case review at willheightwins.com. That's willheightwins.com. willheightwins.com. Don't delay. Click today.
Prior results do not guarantee similar outcome.
Hunting season is here, and Defender Outdoors is Fort Worth's hunting headquarters. We have everything you need, the hottest rifle brands, optics, thermals, apparel, and more. Ever been frustrated with the lack of knowledge from a salesperson? Not at Defender. Our sales staff are real-life hunters with thousands of hours in the field. You can shop confidently knowing you're getting expert advice. Make sure your guns are in top shape. See our gunsmith for a deep clean or mountain bore sight. Get dialed in on our 85-yard rifle range. Visit DefenderOutdoors.com for details. Fort Worth's favorite gun store, Defender Outdoors. Are you a Defender?
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Oh, Downy in the rinse change. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes 100% of odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
In today's economy, it's very important to make wise, calculated decisions. And it's no different when you need to choose contractors to take care of your home. Whether you're needing a contractor for maintenance, repair, or to add elements to your home, doing your homework and lowering your risk is very important. That's why you should find your contractors on thegoodcontractorslist.com. TheGoodContractorsList.com presents contractors from every field of home service that we not only background checked and interviewed face-to-face, we also feel confident enough in their quality and way of doing business that we back every job they do with a $10,000 guarantee to the homeowner. Why sort through all the choices on the search engines and still be on your own when you can find hand-selected contractors on TheGoodContractorsList.com and have a third-party guarantee to back you up? We believe your wisest decision when hiring contractors is using TheGoodContractorsList.com. That's TheGoodContractorsList.com.
If the job's not right, we'll get it fixed. Only at the Good Contractors List.
We have about an hour-long delay in Tarrant County on 20 westbound because of a crash a little bit after England Drive, knocking out 2 left lanes. Your stop and go all the way back from Kelly Elliott in Arlington. Still dealing with a crash in Dallas, northbound I-45, a little bit before Loop 12 Ledbetter. 1 right lane gone here, and about a 5 to 10 minute jam built up from Simpson Stewart. And there's also a crash southbound 35E after Clarendon, blocking the right lane. Look out for about 2 or 3 minutes of extra commute time. With WBAP First Traffic, I'm Colin Ellis.
From the Airco AC Heating and Plumbing Studio, this is News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.
Hey there, welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. The DNC concludes tonight, Democrat National Convention. Your keynote speaker is the presidential nominee for the Democrats, current Vice President Kamala Harris. She's going to go out there, she's going to read off a teleprompter for a while and not take any questions. And earlier in the show, I was playing you Trump taking questions. He is taking more questions from the press during today's James Show than she has the entire campaign. You would think that would be an issue. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. JD and Prosper, you're next up on WBAP. What do you think, JD?
You know what I think? I'm getting kind of, just frustrated with these points, and I wanted to finally call in and kind of talk about them. Leaning Republican, I really don't care if Kamala Harris speaks to the media, because the truth of the matter is, if you're a Republican, you're not going to vote for her anyways, no matter what she says. If you're Democrat, you are, even if she says nothing. And if she's an independent, that could sway somebody either way. And if she stays silent, they won't know what she says, and she might vote for Trump. So what's the big deal if you're a Republican? Why even worry about it? It doesn't matter. Okay. Since I do lean Republican, I would kind of want to know what kind of Trump likes to think about things. But he really doesn't say much either. He talks a lot, but there's no policy coming out of him either. You know, I've been to a Trump rally. It's 2 hours of nonsense, rambling on about nothing. So you really don't get anything from him either. And that's just how it is. You don't get anything from any candidate. Usually it's all crap anyways. My second point is, it frustrates me to hear from the Republican, media, talking heads, pundits, whatever, that Kamala Harris has just stolen this nomination, whatever. We were told by Republican media, right-leaning media, I was told by my conservative friends, a vote for Biden would be a vote for Kamala Harris. So Biden voters knew what they were voting for anyways. So it doesn't matter. She was going to be the nominee regardless. And even if they elected Joe Biden, most Democrats would be totally thrilled with Kamala Harris. So it doesn't matter. These things that people are arguing about and getting all crazy about is just really frustrating. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
You're just annoyed with the whole process, aren't you? Well, look,
you know what? I'm annoyed that you don't get really policy out of any candidate, out of any party.
But you understand why they do that, right? I mean, if she really rolled out her policy stances, she might lose more voters than she wins. Now they do talk about policy in the areas where it helps them. So Trump did, like today when we were playing his audio, he talked a little policy. He talked about shutting down the border. How is
he going? That's just how he says I would end the war in Ukraine with a phone call, and that's it. I'll just end it. Well, no, come on. Give me some more detail. How are you going to end it?
But we know he would do the Remain in Mexico policy. He would turn around the asylum claims, and we know what he would do because he already did it. Granted, he didn't go into specifics in that speech, but the Democrats are pretty good about policy when it's something that is in their priority list. They will talk all day about abortions. JD, they will tell you all about how much they love bodily autonomy when it comes to abortions. The bodily freedom is their most important thing when it comes to abortions. Not so much about straws, but more importantly, can you end a pregnancy? So, look, you're being a little extreme, which just lets me know that you're frustrated in the fact that they never say policy. No, they rarely give out policy details. They do say some here and there. But I do agree with some of your stance in the fact that, complaining about how Kamala doesn't come talk to the press. You're right. That's not really going to win anyone over or lose any votes for her. But it is a criticism directed at the people who are saying we got to save democracy and talk about how important every vote matters. It's just pointing out the hypocrisy of the Democrat Party. And while you're not going to change anyone's mind, that could be effective in dampening enthusiasm. So people who would otherwise vote for the Democrats on November 5th, if they're not enthusiastic about it, maybe they'll forget, maybe they won't schedule the time, maybe they'll go on like a Bumble date or what's it called? Bumble date? I don't know. I have
Bumble. What I don't do the social media dating though. But usually people in the general election don't usually miss. You might miss your county elections or state elections though. But I think everybody's going to turn out. Because when general rolls around, everybody's accounted for that really wants to make their vote.
Well, here's the deal. So, look. No one's complaining on the left that Donald Trump goes out and speaks to the media too much. I think Republicans really want Kamala Harris to go out and talk to the media because they think ultimately it would hurt her. That's why. Yeah,
exactly. Well, exactly. Trump wants a camera in front of his face all the time, and most of it is just a bunch of rambling nonsense. I agree with most of his policies because I don't think he really knows too much policy, but I just know the people that he would have in place would be the people, intimate in the policies.
All right.
I feel okay with that.
Thank you, JD and Prosper. I appreciate you calling in the show and sharing your situation, bud. 800-288-9227 if you want to jump in the conversation. We're going to talk with Debbie Schlussel coming up next on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Summer is a time to feel and look your best, but I'm not talking about your abs or your tan. Guys, I'm talking about your hair. You need to restore that bald spot, maybe reverse some of that receding hairline. You can take care of that with Advanced Hair's once yearly summer savings event. Why Advanced Hair? Their one-day treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. They guarantee new hair will grow. Their summer sales event is only for a limited time, so get details and schedule your free consultation today. 469-599-HAIR. It's a one-day treatment, life-changing results, and with Advanced Hair, your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and after pictures and take advantage of their best offer ever. 469-599-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
New car shopping is exciting, but it's also frustrating when you run into the fees and charges you weren't expecting. Hi, I'm Adam Burwell, General Manager of Novak Motors, and I want to invite you to a totally new way of car shopping. Novak Motors is an off-lease return outlet. We sell gently used, well-maintained, low-mileage, one-owner vehicles that have passed a rigorous multi-point inspection. At Novak, we pride ourselves on the most honest car shopping you'll find in the Metroplex. Every day, we're putting WBAP listeners into their dream vehicles through our customer-focused, seamless car buying process. We hope that you will hear this commercial and be our next great success story.
Ask about the Drive Forever program, which gives you a lifetime warranty on your engine and transmission, and drive your vehicle for 7 days with their worry-free exchange program. Check out Novak Motors' Google reviews. All of their Google reviews are from actual customers. 183 in Bedford, novakmotors.com, or call 817-616-0722. That's 817-616-0722.
Thomas J. Henry is recognized across the nation for taking on serious cases and getting serious results. And after 30 years of practice, Thomas J. Henry works on his next case with the same passion and desire as he did to win his first case. If you or a loved one is in need of a personal injury attorney, call Thomas J. Henry. The name you know, the firm you trust.
Dallas, Fort Worth, and San Antonio, Texas.
Hey, if you're struggling to lose weight, here's some good news. It's called RM3 from Red Mountain Weight Loss. Hi, I'm Brad Barton. RM3 works on your belly, hips, and thighs, attacking unhealthy fat and helping you lose up to 20 pounds in a month. It's safe for men and women, and it's not a stimulant, so it won't make you feel nervous or jittery. This patented medication is available only by prescription, only through Red Mountain Weight Loss. So lose 20 pounds by this time next month with the medical professionals you can trust at Red Mountain Weight Loss. Just go to redmountainweightloss.com.
Lenny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Accurate Foundation Repair has been helping your friends and neighbors since 1999. Over 47% of our gross revenues are referral business. You want your home fixed right? Call Accurate Foundation Repair. We'll give you high-quality steel piers at a price you can afford with a warranty second to none. Call Accurate Foundation Repair at 972-623-2500. That's 972-623-2500 or on the web at AccurateFoundationRepair.com.
Accurate Foundation Repair. We give you a lift for a whole lot less.
DFW's News, Talk, Traffic, and Weather Station. News Talk 820 WBAP AM, Fort Worth, Dallas. 93.3 WBAP FM, Haltom City, Dallas. And 99.5 KPLX FM HD2, Fort Worth, Dallas.
Streaming live on our free mobile app.
A Cumulus Media Station.
Trending now.
The final night of the Democratic National Convention to get underway very soon. I'm Eric Bushman from the Novak Motors News Desk.
ClassicChevrolet.com. WBAP's first traffic and weather.
On the ones.
Highway 80 eastbound at Gateway, only the right shoulder gets by for the wreck there. Also got the problem, I-35 east southbound at Clarendon. That one blocking the right lane. It's heavy. Back to the Zane curve. I-45 northbound, Loop 12 Ledbetter. That one's in the right lane. It's heavy to Simpson Stewart. And they just cleared one out in Forest Hill on I-20 westbound at England Drive. Still pretty heavy behind it. With WBAP's First Traffic on the Ones, I'm Monty Cook.
Why do so many Texans love classic Chevrolet and Grapevine? We're the #1 Chevy dealership in the world. New Silverados, more than anyone. Malibus, Blazers, Equinox. Gotta visit ClassicChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. Based on new Chevrolet registrations 2023.
I'm WFA meteorologist Marielle Rubiz. Tonight, temperature drops to about 80 degrees under a mostly clear sky. Tomorrow, high near 101. With light winds out of the south at about 10 to 20. I'm expecting temperatures over the weekend to stay in the upper 90s, close to the triple digits, with dry conditions.
97 degrees in Dallas, 100 in Fort Worth. This news brought to you by the Wilhite Law Firm. Tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris formally accepts her party's nomination for president at the Democratic National Convention. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who spoke last night, is voicing her support for Harris's bid at a women's caucus meeting in Chicago.
Are we ready to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, President and Vice President of the United States? I thought you were.
Harris set to accept her party's nomination for president tonight. Texans are focused on Decision 2024.
Presidential candidates Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are blazing the campaign trail in search of votes. UNT personal finance professor Mark Evers believes the key family budget issue is the fate of the 2017 tax cuts.
Will they expire? And if that happens, then everyone's taxes are going up. So that's the biggest thing that's on the horizon from the presidential election.
Former President Trump implemented the tax breaks during his first term and has indicated a desire to renew them. Evers says Vice President Harris's claim the tax cuts benefited the rich and she'll likely allow them to expire. Mike Trina, WBAP News.
Your Money News meetings for a proposed extension of the President George Bush Turnpike are being conducted by the North Texas Tollway Authority. The NTTA's Michael Ray says a planned connection of I-30 near Rakeley Hubbard south to I-20 close to Balk Springs has been contemplated for about 55 years.
Regional planners have looked at this as a roadway corridor as far back as 1969 as part of what is known in lore as the Dallas Outer Loop.
The project is in its early planning stages with potential construction not beginning until mid-2030 at the earliest. The first public meeting was held earlier this week at the Mesquite Convention Center. The Dow closing down 178 points. NASDAQ lost 300. The S&P 500 down by 50. Again, the low tonight, 80. It is 97 in Dallas, 100 in Fort Worth. This news also brought to you by Advanced Hair Restoration. Your next news update is at 4:30. I'm Eric Bushman. Check back several times throughout your day and keep connected, DFW, to News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP for the latest on Decision 2024.
This hour on WBAP is brought to you by the Wilhite Law Firm Injury Lawyers. Go to WilhiteWins.com.
That's WilhiteWins.com.
Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Let's go. All right, I thought we would spend the majority of today's show talking about the Democrat National Convention, but we had breaking news that happened right as the show started. There's a manhunt underway in Arizona, an actionable assassination threat against Trump. No one took a shot this time yet. But there's a guy that cops are looking for, 66-year-old weirdo that has a couple warrants out in a couple different states, also needs to be registered whenever he gets a new address. And then Donald Trump spoke. Donald Trump had like an hour of just talking and then answering questions from the media. On top of that, we also had breaking news during the show. Kamala Harris released some more of her policy platforms. Now, there's no audio. It's just text. Steve Moore was going over that, the former Trump economic advisor, with you. So, I mean, we've been easily sidetracked. So much going on. My next guest probably has a very strong opinion on all three of these topics. Debbie Schlussel's back on the James Show. And I want you to take the same ruthless approach that we're used to and just break down the news of the day. Which of these stories do you think is most important? The DNC, the assassination threat, or the actual policy preferences of Kamala Harris?
I mean, I think the assassination attempt, because to me, all we hear about is the hate speech on the right, the alleged hate speech. The real hate speech is on the left, and that's why people are deranged to do these kinds of things. Yes, there have been attempts on both sides, but there have been a lot from the left to Trump. I mean, there was the assassination attempt previously that missed him by just an inch. And thank God he turned his head the right way. There's this, and there have been others, and it should be a major story, but it really isn't, because the media is just focusing on coronating Kamala.
Well, not to make you angry here, Debbie. I know you're probably having a pretty good day, and I don't want to ruin it. But I have two TVs on in my studio. The left one's on Fox News. The right one is on MSNBC. I guess that's kind of ironic. MSNBC hasn't even mentioned the assassination threat against Trump. They didn't cut to him doing the press conference. They didn't cut to him answering questions. And by cut to him, I don't mean take it. I mean just like have it set in a side screen while they talked over it or something. They haven't even announced that this has even happened, Debbie.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. You know, when there was the other assassination attempt, I'm sure it's not the first one, but the first almost successful one, or where it was like everyone knew about it, it was on the news. The one back, how long ago has it been? Like a month? 2 months? I can't remember.
A month and a week.
A month and a week. Okay, so much has happened since then.
Mm-hmm.
But when that happened, one of my friends used to be a DJ on and a radio host in Detroit. And he said that he was listening to different radio stations around the country online to see if what they would say about the assassination attempt, or even if they would talk about it. And a lot of them didn't even mention it. They mentioned the weather over the weekend. They mentioned the deaths of, weren't there people that died that same weekend? Like, I think Shannon Doherty and Richard Simmons and Dr. Ruth. They didn't even mention it. It's kind of like they're trying to cover up what's actually happening in the news. And I remember back in the day when even CNN, the Clinton News Network, they at least would tell you what's going on. I mean, they would give their spin and they would lie to you about stuff, but they would at least mention the events. This is a major event. They don't even mention it because they don't want you to know. If it were in the reverse against Biden or Kamala, it would be all over their airwaves.
But they've even said it out loud. You don't want to humanize the guy. If you have him on your show, or if you talk about him, or if you interview him, you're going to humanize him. And they're so concerned about this guy being treated as a human being instead of some disparate other.
Right. I don't want to humanize anybody. I want the news to be covered, and that's it. There shouldn't be a spin on any network, but the reason why there are ideological networks are in reaction to the fact that we used to have only a few mainstream news TV channels, and their news programs were all dominated by far-left propaganda, and they would lie about news stories, and they would select what they would show about those news stories and so on. And that's why Fox News came about, and that's why MSNBC came about, I think, in response, or an attempted response. And plus Fox News was in response to CNN. So, I mean, I don't think anybody should be humanized. Just cover the news. Yes, they are humans. They should be treated, like anybody else. But nobody should be humanized. But they also shouldn't be trying to demonize. And that's what they're trying to do when they say we don't want to humanize. What they really are saying is we want to demonize him.
Yeah, you're going to ruin all this good demonizing work we've done. You're going to undo it all if people hear him in his own words in a comfortable setting, being a regular person. They may not think he's Hitler anymore.
Right, exactly.
All right, can I play you a soundbite and get your reaction to it?
Absolutely.
Well, don't be so happy. Your head might explode. This is Oprah last night at the DNC. I just cut out this little part just for you, Debbie. You're going to love this.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen racism and sexism and income inequality and division. I've not only seen it, at times I've been on the receiving end of it. I've seen...
Yeah, the poor victim, poor victim Oprah. She's worth like what, $3 billion? Oh yeah. Please lecture me about income inequality and discrimination, billionaire.
I wish I would be. I've been a victim of anti-Semitism. Where's my mansion in Montecito? Where is my talk show? I mean, a lot of channels when her crappy talk show first came out replaced Phil Donahue, who died recently. And I was no fan of his either. I think he helped ruin America. But she helped ruin it even more with her show, which defined deviancy down even more. And she got away with it because she was a black chick. I mean, let's be honest. She was the biggest beneficiary of affirmative action in American history, her and the Obamas, or at least Barack Obama. And so for her to whine like that is absurd. And if you watched her show, she actually did a lot of racist things against Black Americans. She did a lot of shows about Black men in various things. I don't even want to spread her propaganda, but she did a lot of anti-Black male shows because she is, above all, a feminist, and her audience, and she knew this, was white suburban women in America, and she wanted to appeal to them. So she is a racist, and please, she's a billionaire. Everything she touches is gold because she is a Black female. And that's the only reason. Nobody else could do that with Weight Watchers. And by the way, I mean, I think you introduced her the wrong way. Isn't she Ozempic Oprah?
Oh, I don't know about her current weight loss regimen, but she does own like 40% of Weight Watchers, though, doesn't she?
She did, and this is the thing. So she lost
sold
a
out?
lot of weight, and she lied. She lied and said she did it through exercise, but everyone called her out because everyone knew. You could tell. You don't get that thin that fast, and Oprah was never that thin. And she finally was forced to admit that she was on these chemicals on Ozempic, or one of them, Wegovy, one of them.
All right.
And so she ended up selling all of her interest in Weight Watchers and giving the profits, I think, to HBCUs in a foundation, Historical Black Colleges and Universities. She then did a special on ABC about weight loss using Ozempic and how it's not so bad and it's actually the right way to do things, you know.
Well, look,
she came over under so much fire.
Sure. It's good to see her finally making some money, though. Debbie, how can they find you outside of the James Show on WBAP?
At Debbie Schlussel on Twitter, at Real Debbie Schlussel on Instagram, Debbie S fan page on Facebook.
All right, thank you very much. There she is, Debbie Schlussel. Coming up next, I'm going to tell you about the Arlington Uber driver that was forced to drive to Florida at gunpoint, and he probably didn't even get a tip. That's coming up on the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Have you heard the news today?
Job growth was overstated by 818,000 jobs.
Along with their bad energy policies, that's what caused this tremendous inflation, which is destroying the people of our country.
If Kennedy dropped and backed Trump, it could have a significant impact.
Don't miss a thing. Stay connected for whatever's next.
News Talk 820 WBAP.
And now, new on FM at 93.3.
Men over 45. Do you have a frequent, urgent need to urinate or a weak flow? Do you suffer from an enlarged prostate or BPH? Know your options. If BPH medications are bothering you, or you're worried about invasive surgery, ask about the UroLift system. The UroLift system is an outpatient, minimally invasive procedure. It reopens the channel with no cutting and provides rapid symptom relief with no new, sustained erectile or ejaculatory dysfunction, as shown in a clinical study. Go to urolift.com and click on Find a Physician for a doctor near you. Urolift.com. UROLIFT.com. Most common side effects are temporary and can include discomfort when urinating, urgency, inability to control the urge, pelvic pain, and some blood in the urine. Rare side effects, including bleeding and infection, may lead to a serious outcome and may require intervention. If you suffer from symptoms of an enlarged prostate or BPH, the UroLift system is a proven alternative to BPH medication or invasive surgery. Visit urolift.com and click on Find a Physician to speak to a doctor to see if you're a candidate for the UroLift system.
Are you dreading the idea of dental implants? There's no need to worry. We have Dr. Steve Brown of the Dental Implant Place here in the Metroplex. Dr. Brown is a pioneer in the minimally invasive technique that gives you a beautiful smile, reduces healing time, is much less painful, and in most cases costs less than other dentists in our area. Dr. Brown has placed over 12,000 implants and has trained other dentists throughout the country in this revolutionary technique. Along with a compassionate, experienced staff, the whole team at the Dental Implant Place is ready and able to help you realize your dream smile.
I want to meet with you personally. Minimally invasive techniques, all-inclusive pricing, all in one place, and compassionate care. See the difference for yourself at thedentalimplantplace.com. That's thedentalimplantplace.com. Your new smile is here.
Mention this ad and receive 15% off your total price when starting new treatment in the month of August. Financing excluded.
Back to school also means back to crossing things off your to-do list. Is that old car still sitting in your driveway? Hey, it's Casey. Let's get that taken care of in a jiffy with Cars for Kids. It takes just 2 minutes to donate, and they'll pick up your old vehicle as soon as tomorrow for free. Plus, you get a tax deduction and a 3-day hotel stay. It's the hassle-free way to cross get rid of car off your list. Call 1-877-CARS for Kids, KARS, Cars for Kids, and donate your car today. Or visit carsforkids.org. Remember, that's cars with a K.
We're here at Genesis of Plano, part of the Huffines Auto family, for their 100th year of serving DFW and asking customers to sing the Huffines jingle. Today's guest, Tyler.
Huffines has it.
So, what was the it for you?
When I first walked through the door at Huffines, I was immediately greeted. Everybody was so friendly.
And when you visit Genesis of Plano, get low APR financing on luxurious new G70 sedans, GV70s, and GV80 SUVs. Start at genesisofplano.com.
Summer's racing in, and there's no better way to weather the heat than from within a luxurious, sophisticated, and, air-conditioned Lexus from Park Place, where you'll discover an incredible selection of the latest models with some of the best pricing of the season, like $3,500 lease bonus cash on the 2024 Lexus ES, IS, UX, and RX. You'll also find an award-winning Park Place ownership experience that sets a new bar for excellence. Experience the highest level of personal attention and sumptuous dealer amenities, plus the certified master technicians that keep your car running smoothly, and exceptional service worthy of a Lexus. Ready to take advantage of outstanding offers on the summer's hottest models without even breaking a sweat? Well, head to the experts in excellence at Park Place Lexus in Plano or Grapevine, or visit parkplace.com.
Still seeing some delays on I-30, the westbound side of I-30 right before you get up to 635. They did clear the earlier wreck out there. Still seeing a pretty good backup behind it, though. Do have the problem spot in 40, Highway 80 eastbound at Gateway Boulevard. Only the right shoulder gets by because of that one. Also, I-35 east southbound at Clarendon. That right lane taken away for the wreck. It's heavy to Zang Boulevard. I-45 northbound, Loop 12 Ledbetter. Right lane still blocked off. That one in Louisville, I-35 east southbound at the Sam Rayburn Tollway. That one blocking that right lane. And in Fort Worth on I-30 westbound at West Loop 820, the left lane blocked. It's heavy back to Green Oaks. On WBAP's First Traffic, I'm Monty Cook.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. It's Mattress Firm's best sale of the year, Labor Day sale. Save up to $900 on select adjustable mattress sets from Stearns & Foster, Tempur-Pedic, and Sealy. Plus, get up to a $300 instant gift for pillows and more.
This report is brought to you by DeWitt & Dunn Financial Services. Get it done with DeWitt & Dunn.
When it comes to planning for retirement, more than 48% of Americans don't have a plan. That's where DeWitt & Dunn Financial Services can help. Call DeWitt & Dunn Financial Services to set up your free consultation. 972-473-4700.
Stimulating talk. News Talk 820 WBAP.
And now on FM at 93.3.
Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP. Now on FM at 93.3. Sometimes I share wild stories that happen in our own backyard, not just because it's entertaining and because I love telling an interesting story, but it kind of makes you appreciate your life, and like you think you're having a bad day, you think you got a tough life. I want you to put yourself in the shoes of this Uber driver. He's in Arlington, trying to make a little bit of extra money, hauling people around. So he goes to pick up a fare. Dude gets in the back seat. Everything seems cool. When they get where they're going, where the app told them to go, it's an abandoned building. What? Why are you taking me to an abandoned building? And I don't know if this was like a drug deal gone bad. I really don't know what the impetus that this was for, but the passenger pulls out a gun and says, "Hey, pal, you need to get in the back seat here. I'm going to tie you up, and we're going to drive to Florida." So the Arlington Uber driver does something that I thought was pretty brave. He says, look, no, but you got a gun. You don't have to tie me up. I'll drive. You can just sit there and point the gun at me, but you don't have to tie me up. I will willingly help you out here. That's what you got to do. It's better than getting shot in the head. And it's better than getting tied up. And so the guy agreed. And so what we have here is these two new friends go on a really awkward road trip. And he wasn't kidding. This dude needed to go all the way to Florida. And not just regular old Florida, down there in the Miami area. It's one of the communities down there. So eventually, at one of the stops, the driver gets out. He's like, listen, I got to go to the bathroom. He goes to the bathroom, does the deadbolt. What happens? He just waits. He just waits it out until the cops show up. That's it. That's how he got out of it. The guy comes in, banging on the door. I know you're in there. You need to come out. I'm not coming out. Until the people in the gas station were like, well, what's the problem? There's no problem. Do we need to call the cops? No, you don't need to call the cops. Now, he has a gun, but he can't really pull it out and start waving it around without making sure the cops show up. So eventually, the guy gives up, flees on foot. When the cops finally catch up with him, he has two guns on him. The Uber driver actually had a 9mm and a magazine separately. It wasn't stacked yet. It wasn't put in, much less cocked. But it was an unloaded 9mm and a loaded magazine next to it. He took both. Then he had them on him when the cops caught up with him. What I like to think of in this situation, I like to think I would be that guy. I like to think I would be the cool as a cucumber Uber driver when someone's shakily pointing a gun at me and screaming and trying to scare the crap out of me. Just keep level head. Nah, man, it's cool. You don't have to tie me up. I promise. I'll drive. I'm cool. I'm not going to give you any problems. I want to live. I just need to get back home to my kids, man. Where do you need to go? I'll take you. Nobody needs to die. Nobody needs to get hurt. It's just fine. But the thing I like to that's going through my head is like, how far is that drive? Have you driven to Florida? So for what, 14, maybe 20 hours, depending on what speed they were going and how many stops they had to make, how many times they had to get gas or food or whatever. He had to stay up overnight, all night, with a gun pointed at him from the back seat, just chitty-chatting with a stranger. What on earth do you have to talk about with a guy that's shakily pointing a gun at you while you're driving to Florida? This was just a regular day. He wasn't planning on staying up all night and driving for 20 hours. He was forced into this. I think I'd be really good at that conversation, though. I think I'd be trying out bits on him, like my radio bits, or trying to tell him some jokes, trying to make him laugh, talk about this one time when I went to this concert at the Texas Motor Speedway, or when I went to the Cowboy game a couple years ago, some fun stuff happened. I think I could excel at that. Now, I've also said, and you may have heard this on the show, I always thought it'd be fun to drive Uber, like on the weekends, Friday and Saturday night, just because it would be a hoot. Just because you get to see what other people do with their weekends, with their disposable income, and with their what their idea of fun is, really. This makes me kind of double think that. Now, I know this is a super rare case, and that's not the normal experience of an Uber driver. All right, I take it back. I still want to be an Uber driver. Maybe I'll do that just for a couple weekends, just so I can have some stories for you. Because I think, technically speaking, I'm not supposed to be an Uber driver just so I can take the information and share it with you. But who's going to stop me? I don't know if you got a tip, though. I have no info on that. It wasn't on WFAA.com. I checked. I wanted to see, because if he got a good tip, I'm not saying it's worth it, but does the guy's card get charged for that, though? Or do you cancel the ride and he just ate the cost? Because that's expensive. You know how much gas costs going all the way to Florida right now? It ain't free. They're not giving it out at the stops. Anybody drive Uber? I want to hear your stories. Anyway, that's it. Just some fun stuff from Arlington for an Uber driver. And if you think you had a bad day, that dude had a worse day. Yeah, life's not just a smooth velvet pillow that you're sitting on all the time. But you don't have a shaky gun waving at you. And you don't have to drive for 20 hours straight with no sleep. That's all. Coming up next, you're going to meet my friend Emil Cirillo. He does many things, but in this cap that he's going to be wearing, it is going to be as the safety captain for the Highland Park carpool line. And we're going to talk about carpool etiquette and rules. Moms and dads, you need to hear this next segment coming up on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, debunking 3 myths about fiduciaries. And you're going to be surprised about myth number 3. Myth number 1. Fiduciaries are too expensive. Not at Trajan Wealth. Our interests are aligned with yours, so we don't need to push costly investments. The more you make, the more we make. It's that simple. Myth number 2, they will only want to sell me something. Absolutely not. At Trajan Wealth, we have hearts of teachers, and it's our goal to educate and empower, not sell. And the biggest myth, myth number 3, fiduciaries are only for the wealthy. Not at Trajan Wealth. Whether you have 50 grand or 50 million, we know it was hard earned and we'll treat it as such. Let's grow together. So here's your opportunity for 100% complimentary professional Q&A. Call Trajan today at 469-579-3500. That's 469-579-3500.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Hi, it's Brad Barton. You have a lot of options when it comes to sell your home, like using the neighborhood specialist or a past realtor, or you can even sell your home yourself. And here's why I strongly recommend Dan Harker and Empower Home Team with Keller Williams Realty. Empower Home Team is famous for guaranteeing the sale of your home at your price, or they'll buy it themselves. Guaranteed in writing. It's no wonder they sell a home every 2 hours. I've seen and studied their operations, and I trust them. Empower Home Team is now sharing a guide that they've created that shows you everything it takes to sell your own home. Yes, a realtor's giving you the steps it takes to sell your own home without even using them. You can use this step-by-step guide to sell your own home without an agent, or use it just to learn everything it takes to do what Dan's had the privilege to do for years, which is serving families and selling their largest asset for top dollar. Now, to receive this guide, just call Dan Harker and Empower Home Team right now at 844-672-SOLD. That's 844-672-SOLD, or visit harkerhasthebuyers.com. That's harkerhasthebuyers.com.
Here's Dan Bongino for Expo Home Improvement.
Dan Bongino here for Expo Home Improvement. August always feels like a fresh start, and what better way to get a fresh start than with a gorgeous bathroom remodel? They can take an outdated bathroom and transform it into a stunning spa-like environment in as little as one day. From sleek modern to updated classic, find the perfect look to fit your taste. And Expo Home will handle every detail from start to finish. No need for you to handle the shuffling of contract. Expo Home Improvement is proud to be locally owned and serving Texans since 2006, and they pride themselves on treating each of their customers like the neighbors they are. They're thrilled to announce that in addition to window replacement, Expo Home now also offers kitchen cabinet refacing, all the benefits of a fresh new look without the expense and hassle of a full remodel. So don't waste another minute. Visit expohomeimprovement.com today to schedule your consultation and take the first step towards the bath, shower, or kitchen of your dreams just in time to enjoy it over the holidays. Expo Home Improvement, improving homes, transforming lives.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
DFW's News, Talk, Traffic, and Weather Station. News Talk 820 WBAP. And now on FM at 93.3.
Streaming live on our free mobile app.
A Cumulus Media Station. Trending now.
The former president speaks at the border while law enforcement hunt for a man who allegedly made threats against him. I'm Eric Bushman from the Novak Motors News Desk.
ClassicChevrolet.com. WBAP's first traffic and weather.
On the ones.
I-35 east southbound at Clarendon, right lane taken away for the wreck. The back up there to the Zane curve. Then I-45 southbound at I-30, you've got a couple of left lanes blocked. That's heavy back to Woodall Rogers. I-35 east southbound at 121. The wreck may have cleared out, but it's still heavy back to Business 121. North Loop 820 eastbound at Saginaw, Maine. That one in the two left lanes. That 35-minute backup to Azle Avenue. With WBAP's first traffic on the ones, I'm Monty Cook.
Why do so many Texans love Classic Chevrolet and Grapevine? We're the #1 Chevy dealership in the world. New Silverados, more than anyone. Malibus, Blazers, Equinox. Gotta visit ClassicChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. Based on new Chevrolet registrations 2023.
The WBAP forecast, a heat advisory is in effect for the rest of the day. Mostly clear tonight with a low 80 degrees. Tomorrow's high 101 with a heat index at 111. It is 97 in Dallas, 100 in Fort Worth. This news brought to you by Novak Motors. Former President Donald Trump toured the border in Cochise, Arizona, and made remarks to paint his opponent as weak on the border, then explained to reporters one of the ways he plans to fix the problem of illegal immigration.
We'll work with locals, and they're going to bring them to us, and we'll get them over the border, and we'll make arrangements with the countries, and the countries will accept them back. And if they don't accept them back, we do no trade with those countries, and we charge them big tariffs.
Authorities in the same area of Arizona, meanwhile, are searching for a 66-year-old man who they say made threats against the former president. Vice President Kamala Harris tonight will accept her party's nomination at the closing night of the Democratic National Convention. Your money news, the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City hosted its annual gathering in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Fox's Edward Lawrence has the latest in light of reports the economy created fewer jobs than previously reported.
Now, we're hearing really a unified message around patience on bringing those rate cuts down. Boston Federal Reserve President Susan Collins, who says the consumer plays into any calculation of rate cuts.
I think a gradual, methodical pace once we are in a different policy stance is likely to be appropriate.
Yeah, so it feels like a 25 basis point cut in the next meeting, maybe a pause after that, maybe one more cut this year. The Fed chairman maybe would put a button on this tomorrow morning when he speaks.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that the discrepancy between jobs created and jobs reported is at more than 800,000 jobs. The Dow's down 178 points. NASDAQ lost 300 points. The S&P 500 down by 50. Again, the low tonight around 80. It is 97 in Dallas, 100 in Fort Worth. Your next news update is at 5 o'clock. I'm Eric Bushman. Check back several times throughout your day and keep connected, DFW, to News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP for the latest on Decision 2024.
The dog days of summer for the Dallas Cowboys finally going to feel like it after spending almost a month out in Southern California for training camp. From our Mullen & Mullen Law Firm Sports Desk, I'm Steve Lamb. Team returning from Oxnard today, returning to the heat that's a part of our Texas summers. No more cool breezes coming in off the Pacific Ocean, and maybe the change of scenery is needed. Yesterday was probably the most intense and spirited of training camp, with offensive and defensive players shouting back and forth, 2 scrimmages breaking out before the practice was over. Cowboys host the Los Angeles Chargers this Saturday afternoon at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. You won't see former TCU quarterback Max Duggan playing for the Chargers. He was released by LA a couple days ago, where he was fighting it out with Easton Stick and Luis Perez to be a backup behind Justin Herbert. Keep your fingers crossed. Texas might end up having a team playing for the Little League World Series Championship. Those boys from Bernie, the Bernie All-Stars, beat Henderson, Nevada yesterday to punch their ticket to the U.S. Final, which will be on Saturday. Win that game, they'll play Sunday against the international champion. That's your Thursday afternoon sports update. I'm Steve Lamb.
Brought to you by USA Insulation.
Think foam insulation is only for new homes? Think again. Go to usainsulation.net and find out how to get their energy-saving wall foam insulation injected into your home with no demo. usainsulation.net. That's usainsulation.net.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer custom-made faux wood and real wood blinds and shutters, cellular shades, Roman shades, bamboo shades, exterior shades, and more, all at factory direct prices. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
DFW's most listened to news, traffic, and weather station.
News Talk 820 WBAP. And now on FM at 93.3.
Hey, welcome to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP. 820 AM, 93.3 FM. Hey, Mom and Dad, you already picked up your kids from school today, so you did the carpool thing. Do you know all the rules? Are you following all the safety protocols? I'm a carpool dad. I was the primary carpool guy up until I started this job. So up until January of this year, I was the guy who always dropped off the kids at the carpool. And it was quite the learning experience. But for new parents or parents who are just getting into the public school system or whatever your excuse is, I have a guy that's going to help us both. Now, he's a successful businessman in many respects. He's one of the great artists in Dallas. He has all kinds of other things going on. But today, you will know him as the safety captain for the PTO at Highland Park. Welcome, Emil Cirillo, to the James Show.
Thank you for that. Little clarification. I would be the PTO safety chair.
Okay.
And I would be at Highland Park Middle School, MIS-HPMS.
Okay. All right. So, Emil, I want to ask you about this because something happened to me last year. At my kids' school, picking the kids up in the afternoon is nothing. In the morning, though, there's gridlock. There's always going to be a lineup. You can't avoid it unless you want to get there super duper duper early when the doors aren't even open for your kids. And so the kids at my school developed in Buck Tussle. They developed this I don't know, pastime where all the kids would open the sunroof. They would poke their bodies up out of the sunroof and they would talk to each other as we're slowly going by each other or talk to the person in front of them, behind them, or whatever. And so the kids had like this fun little social hour for the ones with sunroofs. And it was so important to my kids that when I got a new car back in December, they were like, can it please have a sunroof? Can it please have a sunroof? And I swear, the day I got a sunroof, they changed the rules. And we all got the little emails, hey, parents of Buck Tussle Middle School, you can't be having your kids hang out the sunroof in the carpool line. Emil, why is that? Is there some danger? Is there some insurance hazard from having a kid hang out a sunroof when you're going 1 mile an hour in the carpool lane?
You know, I doubt that there's going to be anything specifically in any thought process other than it's going to be somehow it's endangering the kids. Like we always err on the side of, okay, we're supposed to be protecting the kids, and if something's going to happen that's going to endanger those kids, you know, we've got to stop it. So in this case, I'm thinking kids are probably talking, not paying attention, cars are moving slowly, you're probably creating some kind of a backup. So you're adding probably to the gridlock. So that's probably why I would say no talking through the sunroofs, kids.
Okay, so you know that can be taken too far, this whole safety aspect, because you got in trouble over muffins. Tell that story real quick.
Muffins, I got in trouble over dog bones. I was trying to pass out dog bones to kids, to cars, and so yeah, it got to be a point where moms were getting upset in the morning, and you know, one thing led to another, and I was seeing birds and not muffins. Just kind of, you know,
it's so funny.
First day of school.
It's so funny because
kind of the way it happened.
You have the same things to deal with that I do, and we're just big, dumb, manly alpha males, and we go into what is an extremely feminine situation. I mean, the school, especially the middle school, it's staffed almost entirely by women. Women are running the show, and most of the people in the carpool line are moms instead of dads. So we really are kind of fish out of water in this situation. But have you seen an uptick or a downtick in dads over your experience in the carpool line, being the guy behind the wheel?
So I would say in from grades, you know, kindergarten to 4, you will see a lot more mix. It'll be moms and dads. It seems like when it gets to 5th grade, 6th, 7th, and 8th, dads are pretty scarce, you know, and the moms are pretty much the backbone of carpool.
That's interesting.
You know, in terms of what's going on there. And then, you know, there's also that transition early on in the year, the carpool moms and the dads that are coming from 1st through 4th, you know, now transitioning to what is carpool like 5th through 8th. And so there's differences, you know, and so they got to get used to it. And the crowd's got to get ready for them, and you throw some grace to the 5th grade moms and dads coming into the middle school because they don't quite know the rules, and they don't know how to kill the awkward goodbye, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the big complaints I hear, because you don't hear what everyone's complaining about when you're in the carpool line, but for the rest of the day, there's Facebook groups and for your kids in the schools and the community and whatnot. And I see a lot of people complaining about the carpool line there. Like when you're dropping your kid off, you don't need to give them a hug. You don't need to double check anything. You just need to maybe slow down to 5 miles an hour, crack the door and push them out, and they can just nom roll into the gym. If you could change anything about the carpool line, if you had any advice for all the moms and dads listening that would make it go a little bit faster, what would it be? What would the one thing be?
If it seems like you have won the carpool lottery, chances are you have not.
Explain.
Because they'll always pull up somewhere that just happens to be most convenient, and then they're going to try to drop the kid off. And don't you think somebody would have been at that convenient spot before you with as many people that are around? You know what I mean? It's just, how can you be that unaware in the middle of carpool?
Well, I think that's the dad. That has to be a dad, because I have the thought go through my head when I see if I'm a little bit behind schedule and I get there a little bit late, the gridlock is way off into the road, and half the time I think, why don't I just open the door and let them walk the last quarter of a mile, or let them walk the last 100 yards? That would be so much faster for everybody if we could expand the area by which the kids could go on foot.
150% agreed with that. That's the general reason for the gridlock, is everybody is trying to drop their child off at the front door as if they couldn't walk an extra 10, 15, 20 yards. But those 10, 15, 20 yards in terms of car lengths get people further down the queue, further down. And so it's all a process of, like the shopping cart theory. Think about, okay, if drop your kid off as far away as you can from the front door within reason, if you've got a bunch of cars that are behind you that are trying to do the same thing.
Emma Cirillo, let's see if I get this right. He is the PTO safety chair for Highland Park Middle School. Thanks for being on the James Show.
Title, yeah. Thank you. Fancy that for carpool.
You can find more of him. He's one of the Radio Misfits at radiomisfits.com. All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Phil Limpert from supermarketguru.com about your skyrocketing grocery prices. This is the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Even the liberals can't quit saying his name.
Donald Trump. 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 Donald Trump.
Trump. Decision 2024. News Talk 820 WBAP.
And now on WBAP FM at 93.3.
This is Rob Wilhite of the Wilhite Law Firm. If you've been injured in an accident, you want us to handle your case. Texas drivers know that when they're hit, we hit back harder. Get your free case review at willhitewins.com.
Prior results do not guarantee similar outcome.
Hello, this is your Congressman Roger Williams, and I proudly serve as chairman of the House Small Business Committee and bring over 50 years of private sector experience to Congress. From food to energy, the cost of living is skyrocketing and Main Street cannot keep up. Rest assured I'm working to lower taxes, stop burdensome regulations, and to cut Washington's out-of-control spending. It's time to have a balanced budget back in America. Never miss an update on my work serving you. Sign up for my newsletter at williams.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Tune into the Financial Hour presented by DeWitt & Dunn Financial Services. Sundays at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. here on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Your host, Kathy DeWitt Dunn, has the most up-to-date info you need for your financial success.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes. Yeah.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it off.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Pour down in a rinse gauge. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes 100% of odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
In the wake of the recent storms, the residential metal roofing professionals at Mueller Inc. stand with the neighbors as we begin to rebuild together. Hi, everybody. Hal J. here. Before you replace the roof on your home, be sure to consider all of your options, especially those that can help prevent roof damage in the future. Residential metal roofing from Mueller offers outstanding protection against Mother Nature. When installed to specifications, their roofing is designed to withstand winds up to an excess of 100 miles per hour. Plus, Mueller offers a wide selection of colors to give you the beautiful look you want for your home. When you choose Mueller, they will be with you every step of the way, from design to manufacturing to delivery. And they back the products with limited warranties of up to 30 years and over 85 years of experience. Call 877-2-MUELLER or online at MUELLERINC, MuellerInc.com. Be sure to tell them Hal J said to call.
I-35 east southbound at Clarendon, the right lane taken away for the wreck. The back up there to Zang Boulevard. I-45 northbound Loop 12 Ledbetter, that one's in the right lane. Southbound I-45 just past I-30, the two left lanes are blocked. Still solid there back to Woodall Rogers. 635 eastbound at Preston Road, got a wreck in the right express lane. That's slowing you back to Midway. 935E northbound at Sandy Lake Whitlock, the express lane's partially blocked off for a wreck. On WBAP's First Traffic, I'm Monty Cook.
From the Airco AC Heating and Plumbing Studio, this is News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.
Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, whatever you're on. Look for WBAP, look for James Parker. I put something on the WBAP X feed today, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. It was my receipt from lunch. I went to this very high-end, exclusive steakhouse. Or not really a steakhouse, more of a sandwich shop. I went to Jimmy John's. It wasn't nice at all. It was just a crappy little wrap. But I got just a normal combo. The only other expense, I added cheese. My bill was $16 for lunch today. $16 for one man to eat a normal lunch. I didn't get filet mignon. My next guest is going to try and make some sense of the ridiculously high prices of feeding yourself in 2024. Phil Lempert from supermarketguru.com is on the James Show. Just how expensive have groceries gotten, Phil?
Well, James, if we look over the past 3 years, they're up about 25.2% across the board. That's the average. You know, certain products are up higher, certain products are much lower. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One is the cost of labor. Certainly during the pandemic, whether it's at Jimmy John's or your local supermarket, they've had to pay employees, whether it's added bonuses, signing bonuses, or just a higher wage. Then we've got the cost of transportation that's gone through the roof. One of the reasons for that has to do with the fact that there's less truck drivers, less long-haul truck drivers that are out there, so those wages have gone up. But probably for me, you know, one of the biggest things that we can't control is climate change, and how climate change and everything at Jimmy John's and at a supermarket has started from the ground, how that's really affected, you know, our crops and driving those costs up. For example, you know, in South Africa, the price of chocolate is now about double because they're not able to grow as much cocoa where they used to be able to do it. So they've had to move to different areas of South Africa. So we have all that, and then we have corporate greed. And we've heard a lot about greedflation. We've heard a lot about shrinkflation. We now have the FTC and other government bodies going after finding out why these prices haven't come down since the pandemic.
Do you think any of the $6 trillion that was printed and entered into the money supply in the last 3.5, 4 years has anything to do with it?
I don't. I really think that, climate change is probably the number one factor of what we've seen and the added labor costs.
It just coincidentally happened when we started printing all that money because corporations were greedy, 6 years ago. Climate was changing 6 years ago, and we had inflation at 1%.
Well, climate was not changing as much as it is now. If we take a look at the past year or 2 years with all the floods and the fires, it's really exacerbated. That's number one. Number two, when you point out the corporate greed, that's been a major factor on these investment calls, these quarterly investment calls, and I sit in on a bunch of them from consumer packaged goods companies. Their CFO and their CEO have been saying things like, well, we're going to raise prices again because consumers are willing to pay for it. And as more consumers are going to store brands, we're losing business. So we've got to make up for it. And we look at the record profits of these CPG companies and the record bonuses that are going to their CEOs. That wasn't happening 6 years ago.
Why not?
Because I think they had more of a conscience than they do now. And the pandemic really, increased their costs, and they're trying to make up for it.
So the corporations lost their conscience at the same time the weather started changing more, and it just coincidentally happened with the $6 trillion in printed money.
No, James, that's not what I said. And climate change has been going downhill for probably the past 30 years. So it wasn't that point in time that we did it. And I'm not an economist. I look at supermarkets. I look at consumer behavior. I look at consumer packaged goods. This is the first time that I'm hearing anybody talk about the fact that printing that money 6 years ago has really affected the grocery store.
No, I printed the money the last 4 years. You don't think increasing the money supply contributes to inflation?
No, I don't.
So if you have more dollars chasing the same amount of goods, same price?
Look, James, I know what you want me to say, and I'm not going to say it because I don't believe that.
Well, yeah, you could just say it contributes some to the rise in price, but these other factors you believe are a bigger contributor, but to not mention it at all, it seems like you're leaving a pretty big gap there.
As I said, I'm not an economist.
Well, I'm not either. You don't have to be an economist to have an opinion on these things, Phil Limpert. You got a successful franchise going with supermarketguru.com, and I've seen you in other outlets. You're a respected voice in these arenas.
And I'm telling you, what factors have led to food inflation. And again, I just look at the food aspect of it, the supermarket sector, and the major one is climate change, labor costs, transportation. That's what's been driving it up. And then more recently, again, the corporate greed that we're seeing with these record bonuses and, record profits for CPG companies.
All right, Phil Limpert, you can find him at supermarketguru.com. It's an honor to have you on the show. Phil, thank you.
Thank you, James.
Well, he couldn't hang up fast enough, could he? I don't think he enjoyed that last 5 minutes, Garrett. All right, thank you very much for hanging out on the James Show. Stick around. Coming up next is Mark Levin. Tomorrow, we will have full coverage of the DNC available with some highlights from Kamala Harris's speech. But I know tomorrow I'm going to take a special segment or two and go through the audio that I've gotten from the protesters, because I think we learned so much from the protesters outside the DNC, more so than we learned from the speeches on the inside. This has been the James Show. Find my podcast. I mean, Phil doesn't want to find it, but you can find my podcast, WBAP.com, the WBAP app, or wherever you already listen to podcasts. Look for James Parker or the James Show or whatever. This has been the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Now I need to talk to you, homeowners. Has your roof been checked out in the last 7 years? If you say, yeah, it has, good. You're ahead of the curve. For the rest of us, we need to get on the ball. I can help you out with that. Paradigm Roofs does a free 23-point roof inspection. James, free 23-point roof inspection. What's the catch? There's no catch. If there's nothing wrong with it, look, the whole thing takes an hour. They'll go over the results. This is everything we checked. Everything went fine. High five. I'll see you next year. But if we can catch something now, we can make a minor repair before it turns into something major, before other things get ruined by your leaky roof. And if worse comes to worse and the bad part happens and you do need a whole roof, I can even help you out with that just a little bit. You get $500 off if you mention that you heard it on the James Show. You're supposed to have this thing, your roof inspected every year. Once your house is 7 years old, it's supposed to happen every year. If you're behind on that, let's get that fixed. It doesn't take a whole lot. It could be absolutely free, maybe an hour of your time. Call Paradigm Roofs today. 972-542-7774. ParadigmRoofs.com or 972-542-7774.
Selling your home is a catch